What's up, everybody? Give me a minute and we'll get going here. Actually, no, yeah, we still got a couple minutes or a minute or two. So hopefully everybody's having a good evening. Let's see here. Yeah, I realized the link on the event was wrong, or it was like incomplete for up until, I don't know, the last hour, which is always great. All right. I think I am going to start doing a deck, kind of like what Option Swing was doing to a certain extent, but just have something to follow along. No guarantees that I'll have it done this week, but you know. Yeah, so we have a waiting room this time around, which is different than what I'm used to doing. So anyways, I'm going to try to make sure whoever is going to show up can show up. I don't expect a ton of people, but it is being recorded, so everything is good to go. And that's the other thing, guys. I just put out the video, right? I don't try to edit it and like put it out a day later. I'll depending on how late we go, I will I'll put the video out as soon as it can upload to YouTube, because it goes to YouTube as a unlisted, right? And then I just post the links inside the Discord, and that works. But anyways, you don't have to wait, hopefully too long. Once in a while, we go late, I fall asleep, but that's probably not going to do as much of that this time around. Try to keep it on point, but I'll pop in when I can and be in and out. I have to be DJ. He's always got something going on. I understand. All right, so let's see where to start off. I guess I'll just keep an eye on this. Yeah, I'm not used to doing the waiting room, but when you do an event, it makes sense. And we'll go from there. So, I don't know if, excuse me, I don't know if SJ is trying to get in here. She said she had some shit she wanted to talk about. I think DJ, if you guys have something you want to go over specifically, I do have a bunch of shit we can go over. But if you have something you want to go over specifically, this is like the first class since getting back from OS. Just post it or unmute yourself. Yeah, you guys can unmute. So anyways, yeah, whatever works. All right, so DJ wants to go over Apple, so let's do Apple. And let me find the tweet. I'm pretty sure I just put a tweet up on Apple. That's the other thing. I gotta get normally my tweets, and then the Walter Bloomberg, right, Delta One, and a couple other news guys or news Twitter pages or X pages come in to the chat, and all that shit stops. So I think it's like, I don't know, it's cheap as fuck. It's like $2 a month, but I gotta find the bot and make sure it's the right one. And then because I think they monetized it ever since Elon Musk changed some stuff. So yeah, let me find this tweet and then I'll pull that up. I probably posted it. Actually, yeah, I know I did. I think I posted in a watch list with Apple. Oh, you know what? Maybe not. That's all right. Anyway, so let's go over Apple. That's not a big deal. Yeah, no, I didn't. What the fuck? I thought for sure I shared this shit in. That's the other thing. Like having the bots do some stuff. I'm probably going to bring someone in from Fiverr, and I've already talked to him. I mean, it's not even that expensive, but have him come in and like help just redo the get like a bunch of shit set up, make this more streamlined, less like clunky, and then also for me because I'm just like half time. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. All right, so Apple here, right? Let's take a look at the bigger, broader time frame, and we can talk about kind of zones, EMs, what we're seeing, right? So this is move that shit out of the way. I don't want to make this too cramped, but you guys can see all these legacy zones, right? I mean, that's and again, you know, if I was just trading long term on this, I mean, you might not need them all, you know. Pretty sure. Yeah, call them OG zones. Oh yeah, only half of them. Beautiful. I was gonna get rid of them, but we can go to a different chart. Let's do that. Anyways, we'll you know, take a look at this. We will go back to this, of course, but beside, you know, the legacy zones are money on this. I mean, there's a reason, you know, this is the weekly, but if you go to the 4-hour, you know, we do have really good interaction in between them. You know, they're not perfect, but at the same time, they do play out. Like when we pop above here, but we don't make it to the next one. You know, we kind of trickle back down, and you can just, you know, it's like, okay, got a little signal here, a sign that even though we popped up, didn't make a new highs, like we were going to come back down and probably break through this could almost be an intermediate zone, right? And then once we based and found support, then we had a nice push up. But anyways, with that said, yeah, let's go back to the weekly. Maybe we can just do it on this. I'm just going to zoom in. The yeah, swear I'll make up my mind. Which one has BTC? There we go. All right. Apple blank. Oh no, almost. Oh yeah, this is the one where I was talking about. Okay, so let's look at this because I've been talking about this for a minute, right? That on the daily, you know, what this when they sold off on earnings, like what does it look like to you guys? You know, it's easy to get caught up in the narrative, and I'm not saying that that is not a bear flag that's going to break lower, but all we have right now, you know, and forget the MAs, you know, forget, you know, the supply and demand zones. Just well, I shouldn't say that because this is the weekly supply, right? This was the weekly supply that held, you know, since what it was formed January 2022, right? And it held you know, obviously through August, all the way, you know, till now. So, you know, with that said, like this is we got that break above, and you can see how we were trying to get a close above it, and we just kept rejecting, and then boom, we had this nice move up. This is the first retest, right? So, you know, the weekly close, we haven't gotten a weekly close back under that level, that 177.83. This could be the first week, but again, guys, I don't know. The more I look at this, we're either going to sell off and it's going to be said and done with, and we can make some money on the downside, or we're going to see buyers step in. It's OPEX, you know, it's option expiration this Friday. You know, the quarters are kind of, you know, the earnings are wrapping up. There's still a lot going on this week, but again, watch like Walmart report and fucking blow it out the water. You know, I mean, something that would bring us back up just to close the weeks, like, you know, the ES and NQ, you know, either inside or above their weekly demands that we've come down and tested. It's, you know, as much as I was bearish for a long time, like I'm not trying to get caught up in the bearish. Like I'll listen to fundamental and, you know, realistic reasons. I think there's very valid reasons that we could sell off, and I mean that could easily happen. But it's like, you know, until we see that actually start to fire off. And today was, you know, it was close, but this is not like, oh, everything's done with. A couple people on Twitter that I saw that I actually don't mind, like I respect, but it's like, oh, why isn't everybody just buying into puts? Like, ain't fucking there. Yeah, I mean, Apple hasn't even filled this gap, right? You got this little gap here. So, all right, let's get rid of this though now. Everybody has seen that cares, and let's go to the weekly. Because it's not just for DJ, of course, this is a major mover of the markets. just give you guys a view, right? This was the high back in 2020. Yeah, well, it's 12/21, but beginning of 2022. And that's what we're coming back kind of to retest. So what do we have? If you're looking here, right? Obviously we're down at this point now, but what are we looking at here? As we pushed up, right? And we had two bearish zones. When you're looking for a demand zone, okay, let's do this. Let's just do it like this. All right, so when you're looking for a demand zone, this is price, right? Up here. You don't know what's going to happen yet. We have not gotten a weekly close above this bearish candle, so this doesn't mean anything, right? You need a bullish close above to say that this is a demand zone, right? Because all this is just price discovery. Now, you go to the next bearish candle, right? That's dominant. And of course, this is one straight ass trend up. So, they're all quote unquote dominant, right? Because you want to go back consecutively. So I can't just be like, hey, there's a red candle over here. You got to go back consecutively. And obviously this isn't wicking down into another demand zone, right? The next bearish zone is way down here, or next bearish candle is way down here. So anyways, let's throw some lines on that and we'll see it play out. All right, so that's the demand. This is the bear case, right, guys? I mean, this is what it comes down to. Let's just throw this over here for shits and giggles. That is the weekly. That is that old weekly supply for what it's worth. I mean, I think the daily is more realistic, but whatever. Probably should have kept it on, but I don't give a fuck. All right, so that is the weekly supply. And I mean, look, the reality is look at the price action here in the center. Okay. Not to get sidetracked too much, but I mean, when, people are like, this is a huge zone, and it is, right? That's a lot of price. But you can see here multiple times, right? Even here, we pushed up, we could not get a close above this dotted green line, right? We came down. As soon as we got a close underneath the zone, we got one test and rejection. Then we got this big bullish day, right? That's your retest. And then what happened? We sold off hard. Same thing here. We push up. We, stacking these weeks up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, 7 bullish weeks, technically. That 8th week, sell off, close underneath the zone, gap down, right? Drop, come back up for the retest. And I mean, look at this thing. Look at, I mean, it's right on the zone. It's a perfect retest of 164.29 or probably 30, but what's to say? What's the high? Yeah, 164. Oh, I'm sorry, 164. 26 is what it was. So it's 3 cents off, right? Of this of this weekly supply. So when you see shit like that, that's the retest, right? And then what happened? Boom, sold off. It doesn't have to happen that perfectly, but on the weeklies and even the daily, a lot of times, so definitely the weekly, it's been very prevalent, which is great because it gives us an opportunity, right? Like, not most of us aren't thinking like, hey, we got that bearish close, 1 to 3 weeks ago, right? And this is the retest, but you got to look at it like that, even if you got to put down and take notes. That's something big that I would constantly push. So, and even here, look, as we approach the zone, and this is, I know I'm probably rambling on here, but the thing is, I hear all the time, right? This is a huge zone. You see it on SPX, you see it on NQ. And I mean, I get it, right? It is a big fucking zone. That's a huge area price, but it doesn't mean that, we're not going to see the price action interaction, right? And we can't get the signals from it. And that's all this is about. We know there's sellers every time we get up here. It's not to say like, oh, this is the weekly, like, you don't have to make it complicated. It just means there's sellers, but how are you going to get a signal? You got to know that this is off of a weekly chart, right? So you call it weekly liquidity, sell side liquidity. But you need to know the open and close of that dominant candle. And we know it's dominant because there's nothing else behind it, right? So at the time, right, this is and not even at the time, but leading all the way up until this candle, this was the highest bullish close, right? Because this red candle goes up here, the body of it, but that's an open, right? It's an open, closes down here. So anyways, it doesn't matter on the size. I don't want you guys to get too freaked out about it. You don't have to have massive zones on your chart, but just be aware of it on the weekly. Even here, look at how we pushed up. Green, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got inside first red candle, and it's this little like spinning top doji, right? And then it held inside the zone. And what happens? Boom, big push up, bullish close inside, got the retest perfectly of that support, right? Or of that what was supply. or the supply level, but whatever, the bottom of the zone. I mean, a perfect test within a few pennies, and then boom, rocketed up. So I mean, you see this and it's like, look, this shit, it's here for a reason, right? This does work. It just has to do with where the liquidity is, how you can get sell signals, buy signals. So just use it to your advantage. So, all right, let's play this out before I keep rambling too much. This is our demand though, right? The solid green. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, I guess. 3, boom. Okay, so this is what kind of tripped us up, right? We had that close inside of the demand. Now, that's not a bearish signal. It's not a bullish signal. It's kind of that in between. What we really like to see is price test this demand zone and come back up and close this, this week. If it had closed above the zone, right? Tested it, but then come back up. Instead, it closed inside, and then obviously it sold off. And I didn't expect that. I thought we might have bounced there, at least gotten one, dead cat bounce. So, anyways, this is where we're at, right? We have this big sell off, and I think, is that it, right? That's it. Yeah. So this is where we're at. So, I mean, technically, this is the other thing to keep in mind, you guys. This is the bearish close. Apple, it would not surprise me at all to see it run all the way back up to 180.96. So basically 181. Retest that demand zone that it now is technically invalidated, right? And it's a bearish retest and then sell off. So it doesn't have to do that, but again, and it also wouldn't surprise me to see this push up and close back up above it. That's what we need to see. We need to see Apple close back up above 181 for the week, preferably 183. And that would say, this would invalidate the quote unquote strategy, but there do exist bear traps and bull traps, right? And this would be at that point a weekly bear trap. So I'll leave it at that. That's what we're seeing on Apple, right? So with that said, I'm not, that is a bearish signal on the weekly. All right. We have this gap here that is not filled on the daily, right? It's basically that. And I'm just going to post my regular chart, but that is the gap, right? We're kind of holding this level. Again, if we keep seeing this chop and kind of basing here, I'm not as concerned with that because of that kind of generalized zone we were talking about, right? Well, it's not even the generalized zone. It's just the daily, what was daily supply, right? The old supply that we're now retesting. And again, so it's like, okay, which one matters the most? Well, like they both count. It's just what price is doing, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. You're not trying to like create scenarios. You just want to follow what the chart says. This was the daily supply. We obviously got the close above, even got the retest pretty much here. Got it right there. Pushed up anyways. This is that first time coming back down. Now, again, if we close, this is the first day that we closed underneath this. Okay. So that's not, well, technically we closed this bullish candle right at it. But anyways, this was the first bearish close. So not fantastic, right? Again, this is not the key level. It would be off of this little guy, and I'm not going to fuck around anymore with this. I don't want to confuse people, but the thing is, this is holding support on Apple. It's just, in the grand scheme of things, okay, what are we doing, right? This is the pivot. Like, we need to pivot this week. Because if we don't, we're probably going to fill this gap, come down, and we could come all the way down to 170, possibly 165. That's all within reach. So. And I could almost do without the legacy zones on Apple. I don't trade it enough. But the thing is, like, intraday, it's just kind of good to know what's up. So, and of course, we have the expected moves. And I'm just going to throw this in here for them. All right, because I want to go show you guys a couple things with SPX. Oh, fuck. He's sitting there waiting. Admit. I hate this waiting room. Sorry, dude. I wasn't looking at the waiting room. I'm gonna have to get somebody, if we do a waiting room, I'll have to get somebody else to be a co-host that can admit people. I think that would be the smart thing to do. So, all right, real quick, since you're here, DJ, I would just went over Apple, like, in broader terms, what's going on with it. But on the intraday trading, This is weekly demand here. All right. This is the demand that we're sitting on. It's a pretty, pretty decent spot. It's had nice price action interact with it. So I'm happy to keep it here, right? This is the 100-day coming up. 50 days, obviously been broken a long time ago. This does look like a bear flag, but at the same time, if it can hold this hourly zone here, what that would mean is that if we keep every time, if we got an hourly close below 176.69, then that would be a clear indication that it's over, right? We're already getting signals from that because of the daily zone on this. But again, I'll let you review the video and kind of check that out. But that level is, right. Or no, we didn't get, yeah, right. I'm screwing myself up. Anyways, we did not close the daily underneath support, even though, the older line we technically did. This is this is the demand, right? Because where's the next bearish candle? It's way, consecutively. You jump here, you go down, it's actually right here. So that's the next bearish candle. So, I mean, this is not interfering with, a demand zone that's just underneath it. This is its own technical demand zone. And again, does it mean this is the only spot for demand? No, but what it means is that, we can say, the signal has to be underneath this 177.25. And obviously it hasn't been for the daily close. So anyways, and again, like I would rather follow the daily close, right? But I mean, if intraday I see this hourly zone breaking and I see a lot of sell side pressure, like then I also don't want to sit there and hold it while we're all getting fucking smashed, so you want to that's why it's important to have these various levels, in my opinion. All right, I posted that for you. All right, so let's look at the SPX, the US 500, and then a couple of ones. Actually, we can do this right now. Look at this. NU, you guys. This was brought up in Data Space. Jeffrey's been in a couple people on Twitter that are kind of in our circles, but actually like four people were in it. A-Man was. Anyways, brought my attention to this. Jeff had been buying it in the 4s. Obviously, it's doing really well. It has to do with Brazil. They have a pretty big market share of that, and Brazil is actually doing really well. But keep an eye on this, right? This is got to be one of the cleanest and cleanest and just simplest charts that I've seen in a while, right? Number one, it's IPO'd early on, but when you're looking for prices up here, right? Weekly supply, you're on the weekly chart, you're looking for supply above. So I'm looking to the left of where the candles are, and I see this green candle, right? That closed highest out of this kind of bunch. And then I see this one, but what does this do? This wicks up perfectly, right, into the body of this candle, which is the main supply. That's the IPO, weak candle, whatever. So that's where your main supply is, right? And you can see how that was confirmed here by this weekly candle right here. Like price literally ran up, hit the resistance, sold the fuck back off, closed here and then continued down. And I mean, that is just that I see that price action. It makes me really happy because it's not just this here, like that's beautiful price action, but we set up, okay, because this interacted here with this supply zone, right? This body of this candle no longer, like I don't care about, because it's interacting with the supply up here. So price, it's all about where is price interacting with the buyers and sellers. So obviously the supply is sellers, or maybe not obviously, but whatever. It's so this candle that represents the buying and selling is obviously dependent, or it has a relationship going on with the sellers that are zoned out up here. So the next one down would be this. Okay, that's the next highest closing bullish candle for supply. And lo and behold, obviously you guys can see this by now. Look at how we've interacted with it. We have not gotten a close. This candle possibly closed inside of it. What was the close on that? 792. So yeah, actually no, it didn't. It closed right at it. So this candle, this weekly candle, like a month ago, closed right at it, and here we are again fighting this level, right? What we need to see is, I'd love to preferably see a close inside of it. And listen, after hours, this thing is actually, I believe, above. So yeah, so that's where it is after hours, because I had a nice pop. That's what kind of brought it to our attention. But again, you know, trade that intraday, like maybe it's time to enter if we, you know, if I can find some better levels tomorrow. But the thing is, I really want to see the weekly close above 806 and then look for that retest of liquidity somewhere down between, you know, 820 and 805, or $8 and 820. Somewhere in there, 815 to 820 or $8. So I mean, you know, if they got to retest back down to that level, I'm going to buy the shit out of this because this is clean as fuck. We get a close above, it's well worth the risk to reward, I guess is my point. Nothing's ever perfect, nothing's guaranteed, but it doesn't matter, right? Like if you can catch this and get, you know, whatever, like it's worth the try. And it's a clear stop, right? I can easily have a stop somewhere down in this area. You know, obviously you want a better entry if possible, but this has a good back end, fundamental. I don't even, well, it is fundamentals, but whatever. It's just, you know, it has a really good business model. It's doing well. It's captured a lot of the market share, low debt. So anyways, all that good shit, but the price action is what I care about the most, even in the long terms, because I mean, it's, you know, if the chart doesn't show something beautiful showing up or something I can, you know, structure the trade around, I just don't care. I just don't do it. So this is looking great, you know, obvious supply resistance, whatever, right? Holding underneath, we get that close above, that's going to be the signal and we can play it up. I can, you know, I almost guarantee that we're going to come up and see, you know, 1150 to that 1185. We already tested it here and there's a good chance that it actually moves through that, but of course we can deal with that when it gets here. So yeah, it's a long term, but maybe it, you know, again, if I'm buying shares in this, like I'll try to hold it, you know, obviously for tax purposes and just for the fact that it's doing well. But if it stops doing well, I'm not going to give back my profits just for some taxes. I think that's a big, I think a lot of people talk that game like, oh, I'm not going to sell taxes. And it's like, that only makes sense if you're up. And most people are up if they've held for multiple years. So anyways, or if they've held, for multiple months and, you know, are up, are almost to that year mark. So yeah, check that out. Anyways, guys, that is NU. I did put a tweet out about it. I think I posted it in here too. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe not. Whatever, I'll do it. All right, so let's go to, where is it? No, it's that Apple chart. Okay, so US 500. What I did with this, I was looking around the other day because you know how we've had SPX US or SPX 500 USD, which I don't know. Yeah, there's at least one new person in here. I think Galley, right? I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but Golly. But anyways, you know, I use SPX 500 USD. You may know this by now because I know I try to let people know. You know, and it acts like the futures, right? Same price action as the futures, but it tracks SPX's price. The issue with SPX 500 USD, which is the Oanda CFD, you know, the Oanda exchange, is that the price differential, you know, differential has been the price difference has been significant, and during the day it can widen to like 3, 4, 5 points, or sometimes more. We've seen it like 6 or 7, I think it was. I don't know. It was pretty ridiculous. That does not happen often, but normally, you know, $3 to $5 difference. Anyways, led me in the direction that there are other CFDs. So if you guys just check this out, if you're using TradingView, you know, if you just type in like SPX, right? You get all these CFDs. Now you get SPX, which is the spot, right? And these are also technically spot, but it's just, you know, some of these you want ones that act like the futures, right? So, but SPX 500 USD is definitely one. I think the Black Bull is one, SPX 500. The thing is, what I did is I kind of looked at prices and I'm like, all right, well, what about, you know, I want to find something that's close enough, that's as close to SPX spot during the day as possible. And what I came up with was this one. If you type in US 500, it's Capital Com. And that's what we see here. It was actually trading like 40 cents under SPX spot today. So, which is fine. You know, it's never going to be perfect, but anyway, so I pulled this up, you guys. And what I did is I just popped on the 4-hour and I just looked for some zones, you know, and when I do this, I actually go back. Just, you know, I don't know if people have watched my videos on how I do the legacy zones. There's a Netflix yeah, there's a video with Netflix that we do both, but it's pretty long, so not as many people watched it. But what I was looking for here is on the 4 hour, right? Just general areas where we've seen interaction, that kind of stand out. I'm not going to go into too much of like how I get the zones, but hopefully you can kind of see, what I was seeing here. Even, and I like to go back as far as I can, and then kind of compare it forward. And that way I'm not like picking, because a lot of times the current price action, it's close, but you're not going to get that signal that says, hey, it's come up to the zone and rejected it. If you're using like the most recent candles, because you're always going to say, hey, that zone is built into it. Right. So, I mean, and it's not that you can't trade that, but I just found it's better to go back and see it, now, obviously, if they start getting way off, I don't fuck with it. And there are other zones inside of here, but that was not the goal of this at all. All I wanted to do was get a, general area, kind of capture like this range. You can see how we dipped, we got above, but then boom, we broke down, and you kind of want to follow the candles along. With that said, this is what we ended up with, right? This is what I ended up with. And, and it makes sense. It's based mainly off these candles here. All right. And this, I'm sorry, it's based off stuff in the past. But what I like about it here is these, it matches up with these candles here perfectly. And it also showed here how we wicked up into the zone multiple times, couldn't close the 4 hour inside of it, and eventually sold off to the zone below. And that's pretty standard price action, right? Like it's failed to take that level, to take the zone, and boom, it came off here as well. Big push up. This is something that I like to look for, where you have these big moves up and out of, or into, but obviously up and out of is key. You had a big push up, got that close above, and then we came down, tested the zone from the top. And that's a perfect long entry right there. Right, you get that, come back, boom, play it up. So you guys can play the legacy zones. There's a lot of ways to play this, and I'm actually thinking of doing like a challenge account, where I just trade like the weekly supply zones, supply and demand zones, and the legacy zones, and just take some longer swings and just see what we can do with it. Maybe even shares. That doesn't even have to be options. So anyways, going into tomorrow, guys, and just so this is still moving, right? Because this is moving like the futures. The issue with the futures, for anybody that doesn't know, is that obviously you have, well, maybe not obvious, but futures, when you roll the contract, the price jumps, right? Jumps up by $30, $40 sometimes, depending on what, I think it's 30 something dollars or $30 to start with. And then it can actually fluctuate because of the time value. And then throughout the, the period of until the next contract, until you roll to the next contract, futures contract we're talking about, it's losing value a little bit by a little bit. It makes it very, you can't go back and look at zones. You can look at some of them, right? And I do chart ES and NQ, but I'll tell you what, they're the legacy zones, it's just not the same. You can do it and get away with it. I did it for years on TOS, or well, not years, but did it for a little while on TOS. But then I got trading view, and it was just night and day difference. So anyways, this is for me, this is holding it right now. Is it bearish? Yeah, it is. But keep in mind what we had going on here, right? There is definitely, this is definitely a zone. This is liquidity. I mean, you can see here where we had all this stacking pushing up, big push inside of it, and then boom, consolidation, right? And then big move up, right? So, I mean, it wasn't just two big moves up. Sometimes that happens, but it just tells me there is something going on here. And this is the first time, besides testing it from the top, that we've gotten inside of it. So, let's watch and see what happens. I'm not super bull or bearish. I mean, I'll trade intraday bearish. Like if we break the zone, actually, I should put an alert here. Definitely will trade, puts to the downside. I've just, thought we were going to rally today. So, I ate some of that. I mean, I had a great play on NVIDIA, a couple of great swings, obviously. The 420s were huge. The 500s I still have some of, although I did cash some of them. Got into the 450s. Yeah, earlier today, or this morning. But anyways, I cashed out of those 420s immediately, and I'm glad I did. Right, it pushed up a little bit higher, but I closed them for like $27 a piece. So I mean, that's literally, and I only had 3 of them left. I had, I have a stack of those 500s, but for the 25th. But I mean, it's like at the time, right? But the thing is, 3 What? Yeah, no, DJ, that's I don't have like the 4 hour supply and demand zones now on that. I can look for some of them, but honestly, it's more about that hourly zone underneath. But you should be able to find them as well. I mean, you're doing the zones. If you want to look for them, and then I can always check it for you. Yeah, anyways, I forget where I was going with that, but lost my train of thought. Anyway, so with this shit, right? Let's just see what happens. Yeah, there she is. I know. No, it's all good. At first I was like, I wonder where SJ is, but I'm like, she may have fallen asleep. All of our sleeps have been, well, not everybody, but I don't know. Mine's been screwed up. I know a lot of people's has been. So yeah, this to me is just like saying, hey, like until we sell off below, I'm just, I can see this hold as support. And I mean, look on my main, on the main, SPX 500 USD, which is kind of the go-to. I mean, we can come down, further and touch what on this chart shows as weekly demand. Now, I will say this, what I've been using mainly, just so it's not confusing, is NQ and ES. And I put this out on Twitter. I put this in the chat. I know the green zones are the weekly, right? I mean, look at this. We had this massive move up. Okay, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five straight greens, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks of pushing up. Obviously, that includes these 2 red ones, but 11 weeks, right? We blew through fucking levels that had blocked us, that I thought were going to stand out. I'm glad it continued moving up because I was actually able to switch down here, from bear to bull, or at least say, hey, I'll take some swings on the bull side and make some fucking money. But anyways, but I mean, look at the structure, right? All this shit aside, the structure is, where's the dominant, where's the next bearish candle on the weekly? Let's say we're up top here. Well, I come down to this bearish candle and I can say, look where it closed and wick down to. It's inside the body, right, of the next bearish candle, which means that this is the dominant one, right? This is the one that this price came down and tested inside the zone and reacted to, the buyers, buyers and sellers, the price action that was, that's represented by this zone. So this is the weekly demand. And you can even see it from last week. We dipped, we came down. Last week was crazy, right? We had the big move back and forth, but we came down and tested it within a few bucks. I think it was, what was the low on that? 44.59. So yeah, a point. So the level's 44.58. So I mean, last week we came down and basically touched it, right? and buyers were sitting there. So that's why I kind of laughed today. I mean, I don't laugh because I'm not trying to argue with people, but and I was there myself too, but I'm like, look at the charts, right? Like we know buyers are here because they bought us up last week. So yeah, like volume is low. Shit looks weird, right? The buyers may not be here anymore. I mean, we know that they're here a little bit because we haven't just sold straight off, but I mean, maybe we do sell off more, right? But until that happens, like this is a fucking demand zone. And for ES, it's got plenty of room. Now on NQ, same situation. Okay, this is the same situation here. The thing is, we came down, we were inside the zone last week, but we closed inside of it. We dipped a little low, bounced, buyers kept us inside. This week, we're actually green on the week. So there's not much to say about that, right? It's like this is not bearish yet. You need a weekly close underneath. Okay, that 15,053 spot 25. Just period. Like that's it. So, and that's the thing, like setting it up. The thing is, we do have to be kind of careful. There's still earnings this week. There are, the data is kind of rough on and off, right? Some obviously anybody that was around today saw that, right? There's going to be, I think, let's check that out actually. Let's go look at economic calendar. Oh, lost some or left somebody else in there too. Eli, sorry, man. I'm getting used to this waiting room. All right, let me switch my screen real quick. And we'll just check this out and then we can go back to the charts. Yeah, if you guys have something you want to take a look at, I didn't even look at the, oh, you said it right. Okay, yeah, cool. Awesome, man. I just saw that too. But yeah, if you guys want, got something you want to look at, whatever, just unmute or type it, whatever. All right, so you guys should be able to see you're seeing the earnings calendar here. So this is Trading Economics, right? This is the one that I use. So we have tomorrow's Wednesday. So yeah, we have building permits, right? And then we have the FOMC minutes. So again, this has been a nothing burger for the most part. Might see a little movement here and there. I am more interested in some of this manufacturing production, industrial production. This is all coming out before cash open. So, 8:30, keep an eye on that if you're trading futures, if you're watching something pre-market. And then obviously there is some gas. And oil, it needs to find support, but it's been a solid trade. So let me know if anybody in here does trade oil, whether it's on futures or if you're trading something, ETF related.
I don't trade, but I hold XOM. I've been holding them for a very long time.
Yeah.
They had a nice little pullback today.
Yeah, oil in general came back. Across the board.
I was in Oxy and I made profit off of Oxy right after Warren initially bought it. And then I sold it after I made profit and never got back in.
Yeah, I only played options on Oxy. It's one of those. I think it could be a great play. It's just there's other things I can buy, not just cheaper, but like that have more potential upside. I don't know. I don't want to say Oxy doesn't have upside, but it's just, we saw a sell-off, since he bought it. We've seen some price action, right? Some volatility, I guess you could say, but not that it sold off and stayed down, but remember how it sold off? I haven't looked at the chart actually in 2 weeks probably, but yeah.
I don't know how much you've talked about so far, but I kind of want to talk about what's going on with my trading this week.
Let's walk through. Let me go through the calendar and then we can chat about that.
Okay.
Because that's what we're sharing. I'm sharing the screen on the calendar. So let me just finish this out. And then go back to the chart. So yeah, tomorrow, this is available, you guys, just so you know, like on the Discord, if you go down, there's like a data -calendar -ER channel, right? And it's also like on my Twitter feed. But yeah, and SJ has posted shit there in I think last couple of weeks. I try to post like anything that I put on Twitter about it, I post down in there. Anyway, so it's there if you guys need it. Same with the expected moves, right? They're laid out. So anyways, Thursday morning, we have 8:30. We do have the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing. Going to be a lot of eyes on that because the data that came out today. What was that? New York Empire State, right? Fucking was terrible. The forecast was 4. It was 1.1. So granted, it was more than, or no, what was the previous? Oh no, hold on, damn it. No, that was what it's supposed to came out as. And it came out right. Came out at -19. So that was the actual, right? It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So the price of manufacturing basically has gone up a ton. I think is what that meant, right? That they were spending, it's bad for inflation, or no, I'm sorry, it's -19. So it dropped. I don't know. I forget. People were saying like, I think it's like 2000%, right? If you're going from, well, that's 4 to -19. Anyways, whatever. The previous was 1.1 and now it's -19. So anyways, we're going to want to watch those because that's what fucked us up today. Just so if anybody isn't sure of that, like we had, that's what had happened in the morning for if you're trading futures, right? Because we had retail sales came out, it was good. Price action had been holding up, overnight. It basically was stalled out all night, wasn't worth trading. And then that 3-4 a.m. candle kind of dropped us. And then the follow through was with this shit right here at 8:30. So anyway, so we have that going on. So yeah, FOMC minutes, we have that. And then Friday is nothing. So it's really just Thursday. We have jobless claims, the Philly Fed manufacturing, and then initial jobless claims. People are putting a lot of, it's smart to watch this shit because it does kind of indicate where things are going. But price action wise, guys, this is what I was, and yeah, you probably did miss a bunch, SJ, but we went over Apple and whatnot, a few other stocks, but my biggest
Friday
thing
is
here,
OPEX, if I remember correctly, right?
no, it definitely is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the weekly or the monthly expiration. So it is definitely OPEX. So that's why I'm expecting honestly a bounce. Like I think that we're gonna see, like, I mean, I shouldn't say that's not why. My main reason why is this right here. Like this is ES and NQ. We have pulled back to weekly demand on both. And that's it. Like we held it last week, until we sell and I get a signal below these levels. This is not like we've had 11 weeks of run up, including these 2 bearish weeks, right, on ES. 11 weeks to get up here. So yeah, we have 3 weeks of pullback, like it doesn't, even if we went sideways here, kind of pushed up, we don't have to rock it up to the next level. I just don't see us selling off, like, or at least, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to worry about selling off until I get a fucking, weekly close below this, and maybe we get a daily close even lower. Let's say there is some major selling, but I just, we'll play those levels as they come. But I hear so much macro spaces or fundamental spaces just going on and on and on and on and on. And at the end of the day, like these weekly zones have been fucking fire, been spot on. You could literally just make up what you wanted, why it happened, but it just like you knew where it was pretty much going overall. And I kicked myself for not taking more like swings based on this, which is what I was saying. SJ, you weren't here. I want to do I plan to do I want to do a challenge account that only uses the weekly supply and demand zones and the legacy zones, like the general legacy zones. Real quick before we get in, I'll show you this chart too. This is the US 500. We went through this briefly, or well, somewhat briefly. These are just the 4-hour legacy zones. It's not every zone. Obviously, there'd be another one here. You can see it right from this candle, but that wasn't the point. I went to the back. I went way back in history and just found some general areas where I could see price moving in and out. And this is what it turned up. So again, like we're in, this, and I did this over the weekend, or Monday night, maybe, or no, over the weekend. What am I saying? Today's only Tuesday. So, I see this and I'm like, come on, like this is in the zone. So like, again, I just need to see more evidence for selling off. Not that you can't play puts, right? But I know you've been playing a few puts.
Well, I have IWM puts. And really what I do is on a day like today where it gapped up, but then it dumped in the morning. I waited until probably midday and I took some profits. And then when it started to go up, if it went up enough, I added another one. And that's what I've been doing with IWM this week. So I've been doing really good with IWM. I am struggling with SPY right now. Like struggling hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's been on this downward roller coaster. So you either and actually that's why you see this thing down here, right? This new indicator, or it's not new. I mean, it's
What is
something that
it?
it's the
Is it
something,
the
I forget what
MACD?
it's called. No, it's the Squeeze Pro.
Okay.
No, it has to do with the kind of when the Bollinger Bands are contracting. And I don't use Bollinger Bands, but again, it's just that's kind of standard deviation stuff. But it gives you an idea of when that like here, right? It doesn't, so it's not like, hey, you look at that cross, that may play some more downside, but again, it's not like the whole move. It's something just to add to the mix. It kind of gives you an idea of like the sine wave cycles, I guess is how I look at it, because
Okay.
we're constantly moving up and down. Now it's not, again, you got to kind of watch it. And I like it more on the lower time frames.
Right. So I listened to
but the reason for that is because, listen, let me finish. The reason for that is because this price action, right, it's just been a sine wave. It's just harder to interpret unless you have like Saudi's cloud. So that's what I wanted to I mean, I want to hear I want you to go over it.
It's SATY.
Yeah, Saudi's it's Saudi's pivot ribbon and Saudi's ATR levels. Like Les and I interviewed, like you're not interviewed, but he came in our space like long fucking time ago when we first were doing spaces.
Yeah, I follow him. I just don't know how to read the ribbon.
Yeah, well, you got to do a little research with it, but it's literally just, I mean, I'm kind of busting your butt, but it's just when you get underneath it like this, you keep holding underneath. The ribbon is just EMAs. Okay. like different
Okay.
EMAs that he's kind of filled in. And he talks about how like each one has a little bit of different significance. I don't pay much attention to that shit. I don't really use the ribbon that often, but I do, if I'm not sure where things are at, it is nice to pop the ribbon on and see like this pop up here on ES. I know it's going into an hourly supply, you know what I mean? But I can also see that like, look, it hasn't really broken above this ribbon on the 15-minute or the 10-minute. Well, the 10-minute broke above, but depending on what time frame you're looking at. So that's, yeah, it's Sabi's ribbon is helpful in situations like this. It's also the kind of broader context, like where he pushes up like this and then kind of pukes out. That's kind of a formation that they talk about. So anyways, with that said, I mean, I've had, I don't use these that often, but this past week or last week, I pulled it out, to say the least.
So the problem that I'm having is, I'm typically a directional trader, and of course, nothing has been directional this week. So I get stopped out a lot, and I'm making like, I don't know, sometimes $5 in profit, sometimes I'm negative. What I was thinking towards the end of the day, which is why I kind of loaded up on more contracts than I normally would. Not that, and they were very, very cheap. Was just to do a quick scalp on just one candle. But I know as soon as I start doing that, it's going to change back into directional stuff again. So
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like, so
I don't even know
what
what I'm
like
asking. I just need to, I guess, get it out.
so it's moving against, you're not stop, you don't have a tight enough stop, it sounds like, which I know is not, it's easier said than done
I
because
think
like,
my stop is too tight. And or
well, I
well,
mean, not if it, well, yeah, I don't know. Explain it to me so what's been, I
okay,
mean, I
so
know
if we
not
go
every
on the
single one
five
is the
minute of
same, but
today on SPY, today was
yeah,
like a
yep,
perfect example. Okay.
yep.
So where are we at? Okay, there we go. So, okay, so we did the drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the very first pullback, that right where you're at, the very first pullback I got in. And I was like, okay, perfect entry. Well, instead of taking profits down at the bottom, which was I think yesterday's lows, um, yeah,
No, those
no, a
over
little
here,
bit further. Maybe it was
but
the day before's lows,
yeah,
but I
doesn't
had
matter,
it
but
as a
yeah, it
trigger to
is,
take
yeah,
profits.
yep,
I
yep.
had it as a trigger to take profits there. And I thought that I saw a continuation down, so I didn't. And it moved so fast up that I was like, okay, that's when I posted in the Discord, at 10 o'clock, we'll probably see a reversal. So I said, okay, I did the reversal play. But if you see, the
It
pullbacks
didn't,
are
yeah.
so freaking hard on the upside that it was like I just took one more trade and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm just going to stick with my IWM because I'm doing really good with that. And I'm going
Well,
to just leave it
are
alone.
you buying calls in IWM?
Um, I have puts in IWM and I'll wait for it to, they're all the way till August
But I
25th.
mean, yeah, so like what are you trading with SPY? Because it sounds like you're buying calls at the bottom.
Yes, I'm trying to buy
Right.
calls at the
That's, I
bottom.
mean, that's why. I mean, that's not the only reason why, but that is because the reason this, I mean, this is a short the pop, market right now because we're still trending down today. I mean, this hourly blue zone here, whatever, it's probably a remnant at this point, but you can see how like once we broke below it, came back upright, tested it. And it's a bearish trend day, right? We're still selling from like upper high, up above, down low, and that's gonna fuck you up when you're trying now. Because look at the put side, right? Like you got in here, that was a perfect play. You got in here, it pushed down. Granted, you probably should have gotten out as soon as I don't know
As
what
soon as that
expiration are you trading? What expirations?
one day.
So yeah, so that's the thing. You still want to
And
kind
see,
of lock in profits
back,
when those move. Yeah.
when it pulled back on that long red wick, it broke me back to break even. It brought me back to break even. So it
On
was
what?
like,
On this?
no, not that one.
This one?
That one right there. Yeah, it brought me back to break even, and I only had one contract, so it wasn't
Your
like
entries must be like, I don't know. Are
they
you?
were somewhere in there where your mouse is. They were
Yeah, I mean, but
somewhere in
that's,
there.
I mean, you're talking.
but you would think that I
Yeah.
would have made a little bit of money. So I
Well,
don't
no,
know if
yeah,
it's,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you waited till back here, that would be break even, obviously, but that's 12, that's noon,
yeah, I was
Eastern. So that
sleeping
would have
by then.
been right. Like
Yeah.
that. I know you were done by then. So yeah, no, it sounds like possibly your entries here. Like if you took an entry down, like as this push down, if you actually got your entry now, are you limit ordering or are you just are you
Limit.
market ordering?
No, I do limit, and I go by the options chart on
Yeah,
Thinkorswim.
yeah. Okay, right. Of course. Yeah, right. Do you have
Yeah.
I was just gonna, I was gonna look at the options contract. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I have to wait for that to open. Yeah, I guess
But yeah,
here's the thing. You want to really watch the premium. I don't know if the IV was jacked or if or yeah, if the IV was jacked up or what was going on with that, because you if you are back to break even on this right here,
yeah.
or within, that's your entry had to be there's no way you could have ended up here. Like, now I'm not saying you didn't enter, like, you know what I mean? Your fill is more representative as like down here on the break than the pullback up here. Because I mean, if you're at 45.50, right? This is basically 440, this is 44.50 almost, or 44.60. That's it's almost $1 difference, right? Than if you filled, whatever, right, at that if you filled at 445.50 on this pullback here, right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying you did fill right there, but if you did there, down to pretty much where that wick came back up to, it's still $1 move. So like you shouldn't go back to break even. The only time that happens is if you're, especially on a 1 day, right? Now, if it's a 0 DT, it's possible depending on, what strike and what. Now that's the other thing. What strike did you have?
I'm not even sure.
Maybe it's too far out the money.
Maybe that's what I did. I'm gonna have to pay attention. I mean, I was just buying them cheap ones, and when I do out of the money,
That's why. Yeah, that's
if
that.
I do
Yeah.
out of the money, I do maybe 1 or 2 strikes out of the money. I may have done 2 strikes out of the money.
Yeah, the issue with SPY too, you gotta remember is well, I mean, you probably know this because you traded a lot, but like I have to remind myself that like if I trade SPY, it's not like SPX where I have, so like, let's see, plus ones. Yeah, it's $1 on SPY. That's I have twice the amount of strikes on SPX. You know what I mean? Because we have every five points
Okay.
on SPX, right? So, and it's really every 10 points on what am I trying to, I mean, if $1 on SPY is 10 points on SPX, right? So you only are getting, you got 444s, 445s, 446s. So you only have, for every 10 points on SPY, you have 1 strike. But for every, or for every point on SPY, which is equal to 10 points on SPX, you only have 1 on SPY, but you have 2, right? Because you have the in-betweens. You have like 44, 45, you know what I mean? You don't have a SPY 444.50 contract.
I see. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. So that and it takes more. You got to have, to get in the money with contracts on SPY, you need it to move $1, which, $1 on SPY, it's not that it's not possible, but it's it's a bigger move, right, than just 5 points. It's the difference between 50 cents, right, or $1, right, on SPY.
Yeah.
So obviously easier to move 50 cents. But yeah, if you're buying too far out the money, right, that will fuck you up. The other thing is that you got to look at what happened here, right? We opened and we slammed down, right? So that premium got built right up immediately on those puts. If you didn't buy on that pullback all the way up here while it was still moving back up, by the time that thing started to fade back down again, that premium gets kind of juiced back in, right? So those contracts, and you'll see that if you go back, what I would do, I recommend you doing is going to the chart of the contract, even tomorrow, right? It'll be a 0 DT at that point, but it doesn't matter because you can still look back to the, and just view it as you would have today and see, do you remember what, I mean, was it like what would you have bought? Like the 450, or I'm sorry,
So
really
I'm
puts the
thinking
440s or
I can tell you.
yeah, I was gonna say I could, because I do have it opened up now, so I can look at the contract.
So I am thinking that I bought at the bottom of that candle. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell. I mean, you know, we can go to the 1 minute and find out like right
So
where
I
he was. But
did
so yeah, that's something to like just for.
443 put.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not terrible. So you had the 443 puts, and then what
Mhm.
time did you buy? Like, what time did it fill? I should say.
Does it tell me what time it filled?
It should, but you may have to look. It definitely does tell you when it fills. It's just I don't
Let
know
me
where
see.
you're looking. Yeah, you may have to look in your orders, I guess.
That's what I'm looking at. 14. Today's the 15th, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, probably at actually it's at 9:20.
All right, so
So
9:20, which
I'll,
is wait, oh,
I'll
9:20 Eastern, right?
yeah. So it looks like I bought at the
Wait,
bottom.
no, that's 10:20. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry. Yeah.
10:20 me. Yeah, now I was gonna say 9:20 is not open. Okay, so you bought puts way down here. That's why. You bought
That's
puts right
okay.
here. So it'd be
I thought I was
10:20
up there for
Eastern.
some reason.
Yeah, so you bought puts after it had this big move down, right? So and then what did it do today, right? It bounced, you know, or it popped up, but then it dropped, and you got a little bit of a drop here, but then it immediately came back up, trended up. Now, I mean, it's, you know, obviously if you had held it all the way through till close, you would have had, it actually would have ended up one out the money, I believe, right? 443s. No, it would have ended up in the money. But again, if you know, you didn't know it was going
I'm
to
looking
break
at
until the
the
very end of the day. So
right. I'm looking at the chart right now, and the pullback that it had, it took me out. So
right. And that's, but I mean, look, yeah, and that's because I mean, literally that is because you bought, it wasn't actually that contract, I don't think, well, at the time that you bought it, right, which was 10:20, which is
yeah.
right
Now that
there.
I'm looking at
So
the chart,
yeah,
that's
price
exactly
was
where I bought it. I bought it too
444.
late. I was
444.20. So yeah, and that, so you were only one out the money. So you weren't buying like super cheap or anything. So it's not the, it wasn't the contract that you bought. It was just when you bought it. You bought it after it had this big push down. So yeah, so looking at the contract chart, if I go to 10:20 my time, right, it actually juiced up. So at that point, it did get a little pullback on the premium chart. Okay. Yeah, so 10:20, you actually got that pullback. But you got to remember from open, it went from 60 cents. And at that point, it was at $1.10. Your best fill would have been $1.11 at 10:20 or at 9:20 your time. So, but I mean,
Mhm.
at that point, those contracts had almost doubled, right? So they went from 60 cents to $1.20 would be double. So,
Right.
it went to $1.10. Although you could have bought it also at $1.26. So, I mean, you could have paid double, not paid double, but I mean, you could have bought it when the contract had already doubled. So
Right.
that's something definitely now. And again, it doesn't mean that this thing wouldn't keep going higher. The contract wouldn't go higher. And I can post this, for people that aren't, can I'll just put it in the chat anyways, but, the chart, if you guys want to see it, put it in the Discord chat. So I'm just replying to all right, so you guys can kind of see, right? And if you look at 10:20, you can kind of see 10 there on, I didn't mark it, but you can see that dip, right? So that actually is a decent buy if you think it's going to keep going up. The thing is, the play there would have been to buy it at like $1.15, let's say, and then as it pushed up, you sell it around 155 or something like that, right? Get that 40 cents. That's a 30% play, or yeah, 30%. That'd be a little over 30% on the move, and just lock that in, right? But again, you'd have to know that that was going to be the peak and it wasn't going to sell right back off. And it did sell off in a matter of like 10 minutes. You were down in the red technically.
Well,
So,
those
and
were
that, which would
puts
have
that I
stopped you
bought.
out, right?
So those were puts that I bought.
No. I'm talking about the contract chart. Look at
Oh,
what I
the contract
posted
chart.
in the, yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about the chart of the premium that I just put in the chat. If you can see where that pullback on, you can see where 10:20 is, right? So if you can't see 10:20 exactly, but you can see that bearish candle that literally dipped. it broke down. That's that 10-20 candle on the one. That's the 1 minute. So again, you bought it on the premium, the pullback of the premium, right? I
Right.
should say, not the underlying, but but it is a pullback for puts. It's when it pushed up there. I can it does correlate. But yeah, so anyways, the thing is though, it just didn't play out higher, I guess is my point.
Right.
So you could have
right.
taken profits quickly on that, but if you're looking for some follow through, and I guess the biggest thing, SJ, is to, if you look at the zones here, let's see, this hourly is yeah, so that was the demand that we did finally break through. So it wasn't the only, that was that major demand over here that we bounced off of for a long time. Then we started to close underneath. So again, you may not have had that level up, that 445.18, but yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look and see what the SPX is at, I guess. Let's see what it was at.
So I have a daily demand at 446.02 to 446.39. And then I have a legacy level at 443.69. And I saw that it broke, or I saw that it was going down, and I was going in for it breaking that 443.69, and it did. And then it double bottomed with the tweezer bottom.
Yeah.
And then
so
it got up. Yeah.
so you bought puts as it touched my zone here. So
Yes.
at 1025, right, or 1020, we were coming into this legacy zone here. So like we had broken, we'd open, smash down through. So yeah, so again, I guess that's the big thing to pay attention to. I mean, I know even if you don't have
really
my
thought
legacy
that we were
zones per
going
se.
down further. I really did. Everything said that we were.
Yeah, that's where it got you. That's why that's why I got you, period. So
yeah. And then I got into calls. Let's look at my calls. So let's see which ones are closed. So I got into August 16th, 447 calls. Let's see if I could see what time I did that.
what were they? Sorry.
447 calls. Let me look at the details.
Yeah, what time did you get into those? Yeah, so you were just chasing. I mean, that bottom line is you're just chasing today. That's it.
Yeah, because it's showing that I got in at 1400.
Well, I just meant on the puts. I haven't looked at these yet, but yeah, just on those puts, like you were just chasing, right? It's not anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I mean, yeah, it's not something you don't want to do, but it doesn't mean that that there was something like off with the way you were trading. You know what I mean? Except for you were chasing price is all, but and not just chasing, but you had it in your head like we're gonna sell off, dude. It happens to everybody. That's why I rambled there in the beginning here about how not how sick I am, but just how I do avoid the fundamental, I'm down to trade, talk trades, right, on spaces, but even thetas today, once it got very fundamental, I was kind of listening in the audience, but I stepped down from speaker because I'm I have nothing to add here. I don't want to talk about fundamentals because if I don't want to say it fucks me up, but we know what the situation is. And not that the info isn't interesting. It's just I already, I understand we are at a pivot, but what is price telling me, right? And it's just price continuously says that we're gonna, that we're still at support. So it's this idea that we're all gonna burn down is it could happen still, but we haven't gotten any signals from it yet, right? Besides just going into demand and having a pullback, which we did many times, fucking, the last 2 years. Every time there'd be a change in rhythm, you remember FinTwit would fucking fall apart. Not fall apart, but it's burning, it's burning down, or we're rallying to fucking
the sky
to
is
the highs.
falling.
Yeah, or vice versa, whatever. But okay, so when did you get the put or the calls?
So I got the calls at the end of the day at 1400. So that's what, 2:00?
So that would be 3:00 my time.
Yeah. And I got out really quick. So what I'm looking at on my SPY stuff,
Oh, you bought and then it dropped hard.
yeah. And I got out.
Yeah.
But see, my cash is still there. My cash is still there. You know what I'm saying? So like on the puts, I lost 16 bucks. So I'm not losing much
No,
on
you're
the
just stopping out. Yeah, no, you're
and on the
managing your risk.
call, I only
Yeah.
lost $17.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not breaking my bank. Like I said, my cash is like my cash almost seems like it's just not moving. It's
Yeah,
not
well,
going
no,
up,
that's called
going up.
managing your risk. I mean, that's managing
Yeah.
position size and managing your stops. I mean, that is managing your risk. Like that's the whole point. And I mean, it sucks to stop out, but what sucks more is to not stop out, have it continue to move against you and lose, a lot of money and be like, why didn't I just stop out? There's literally a reason that we talk about it so much and you want to practice it.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
I
no,
am
that's
doing
nothing wrong
really,
with
I'm
that.
doing like damn good with my risk management, like damn good with my risk management. But um up until let's see, like 3 weeks ago, I needed a break. So I lost a good bit of money on swings and I just needed a break. So I took like 3 weeks of just watching the charts and doing mental trades. And I was still getting screwed, but it was also during earnings, like the peak of the tech earnings and stuff like that. So it's like now I'm back into trading, but I'm only doing one contract at a time. And the only swing that I'm doing right now is IWM. And that's only because I saw the absolute perfect setup and I got confirmation and I'm making money off of it. So I'm doing really good with that. Today, at the end of the day, I did take 5 contracts of SPY swings for tomorrow. I am going to close them out at open, and that was my intention. They were 50 cents a piece. So I'm not going to lose a grand, of money. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so ready for earnings season to be over.
Yeah, no, this
I
has
am
been a
ready.
shit. I mean, listen, this has been a shit show. I mean, there's been opportunities, there's a lot of people that I mean, even I've been, there's been some great opportunities and it seems like all wonderful, but it's been a lot of like frustration and heart and work, like my mental work, like trying to figure out what the fuck the market is doing with the data, and the thing is, this has been going on for, weeks now, right? We had FOMC fucking the beginning of all of this, I mean, it's just,
Right. And
or
this
not
is
even
my
at the
source
beginning.
of income. So 3 weeks with no income is like, it's hurting me right now, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And we also have chip earnings, Nvidia coming up next.
That's
I don't know
next
if
week,
is it next
right?
week or week at yeah, it's right. I think probably is next week at this point.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's
Hey,
up, dude?
hey.
Um,
We also had new earnings in tonight.
Yeah. Is
And
that
so
Brian? Who's
it jumped up. Yeah, who
who's
is that?
chatting? I think it's
this
Brian,
is
right?
Danny.
Oh, it's
Danny,
Danny. Oh, what's up,
What's up,
dude?
Danny? We never
what's
hear
going
your
on?
voice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
always
no
busy.
shit.
I finally just got home, so I'm like, you know what? Let me jump on real quick. I guess when you get a chance, can we two things? Can we look at a mat? I think they have earnings on Thursday.
Yeah,
Thank
what
you,
is
And then
it?
Praises. I'm
also,
gonna go back on mute and I'm gonna let you finish. But thank you so much for making my head clear with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think I posted the chart of the premium real quick. Sorry, Danny.
no
Of
worries.
the calls that you bought, and I would take a look at the way that looks. It's kind of barcode-ish. I would not buy. It's not. It means that there's very low liquidity. And granted, it's the 1 minute chart. But if you see stuff like that, I would stay away from those. If you see a chart that looks like that, I would stay away from those contracts. Because even though they had been liquid maybe earlier on in the day, they were becoming very illiquid. So, and we
Okay.
can chat about that more, but it's literally, that's what people call kind of barcoding. It's not quite barcode, but it's very like, it's skipping around and it's just kind of red, green, that's a sign of, and liquidity or volume, like liquidity disappearing out of that. So anyways, that was all I wanted to throw out on that. But yeah, what you did basically, I think off, but you're managing your risk, SJ, so you're good to go.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep. All right, dude. Yeah. So you probably have to tell me that name again.
Yes, I wanted to possibly look at a MAT, AMAT,
Oh,
Thursday
yeah.
earnings. And
Yeah.
apparently I'm hearing people saying that this stock is going to move the market big time.
It could. Yeah, no, it's up all time, or it's back to the highs, I believe.
Yeah, and then after this, maybe like if we can discuss that gamma thing that you post, and just so I can understand it a little bit more, because I noticed when you post it and you jump into a play, it, like takes off.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, so there's yeah, we will go, we can touch on that. It's not going to be perfect because that what I have streaming into the Gex spot, right, is different than the Anza.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately it's not. I don't know yet if it has, if I'm just not reading it correctly. But what I love about the Anza or Onza, whatever, it tells you whether it's negative or positive gamma. No matter whether it's, talking about, a level above the current price or below it. But on that Gex spot, it's only, it's only showing like positive gamma or positive level. It's really positive volume and positive OI. That's the thing. I got it. We'll chat about it. I'll pull it up and we can take a look at it, because it is, I think it's definitely useful. I just got to like adjust myself to it. No matter what, watching the change of that shit, that's what you want to do. Like you want
Yeah,
to
I noticed
watch
that comes out every hour.
no, it comes out every couple minutes.
Oh, it does.
The Gex bot. So that came out. Well, let me check. It was coming out. So yeah, right up until 3:58. So yeah, if you go up into the information channel, which you guys probably only see one or two things on that, because I got a bunch of stuff that I either gonna get rid of or finish and make public. But anyways, like in the information channel, it should say Gamma Gex spot. If it just started off today, it just started posting today. I been in touch with them over the weekend. They were supposed to start it yesterday. It's free, but it is up to date. But it's the pink, it's the different charts. Can you see it? Or I don't know if you're able to look at it right now. Or can you see Discord, or are you able to
Yeah, I'm dropping into Discord now to look at it.
yeah, let me know if, and that goes for anybody in the chat here. I mean, if you guys are in the, wherever, anybody that's listening to this, even if you guys can't see any of this, let me know. Everybody should be able to see it. And then there's the forum. It has like the Greek letter for gamma and then gamma next to it, right? And inside of that, if you go to the Gex explained, it's literally right now, it's just it's the two videos that they offer. There's not a ton of explanation from their site, but I did write a little bit, and I have a bunch of like how-tos from Anza, right? But the thing is, it's not exactly the same, so I don't want to post that until I can explain it to people, like what, because I know what I'm trying. Here's the bottom line, right? They're not. So my buddy San is really how you say it, right? He runs Anza, right? ONSA. And they have gamma for fucking everything. They have Vanna, they have Charm. Not for everything, but they have it for like Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, Netflix, Baba, and then of course the indices. They don't. He just got a new partner, and they don't want to stream it to any Discords, right? But I chatted with him. I keep bugging him, so I talked to him literally over the weekend, and I was like, dude, any update on it? And I didn't, and he said, well, they don't really want to do it, but he's like, let me ask him and try to work something out so we can get it in the Discord, right? Because he knows I've been asking him for like 6 months about it. So hopefully, dude, we get something. Even if it's just SPX, QQQ, and fucking SPY, because that would change the game. Because the Onza is just, I really like the way that looks. The thing is, all the how-tos for that are not, they're not going to, like, they're going to be more confusing for this Gex bot. So I just need to spend a little more time with it. I just haven't. I just started really messing with it. You're looking at the two like PDFs, or looking at their videos and then looking at the PDF that Onza has. So, I'll try to interpret that somehow, because there's a lot of good info in the PDFs. It's just, it's using examples that look like the charts that I post, right? Not the Gexbot, charts. So anyways, take a look at them though. I mean, definitely watch the videos. It's legit. There's a ton of information here. Let's get into that afterwards though. Let's, because that'll turn into a long thing. Let's look at the AMAT and what were you just guys are looking at earnings here, right? Just because earnings are coming up on the 17th, so that's Thursday after hours. All right, so what do we got here? That's our weekly. I'm just going to clear all this shit. Yeah, so I mean, bottom line here is we have a monster that is pushed up. Yeah, what a beast, dude. I don't know why the fuck I didn't buy this. You know, I've been looking at applied materials for a while now, you know, probably since it made some of this move, right? Back in 2020. And I don't know why I didn't look to buy. I mean, just wasn't looking at things to buy when we dipped, of course. But and here we are with another V-shaped recovery, pretty much. That's the thing that scares the shit out of people, right? Because we had that in, you know, obviously this looks a lot smaller, but we had that, you know, for 2020, the pandemic, and it was almost unheard of. And yet here we are pulling back and we're shooting straight back up again. It's almost like that's what the new market is. So, all right, with that said, let's look at, and dude, speak up. And, you know, if you're looking at something specific with this, or, you know, you want to add to it for sure, you know, don't hesitate to just jump in. So this is the weekly supply here. It's normally where I start out. Right, it's the highest bullish closing candle. It's really the highest bullish close. So, you know, I can snap that and you can see how we tested it, closed underneath. And again, as big as that zone is, look at the price action here, right? We got the close inside. We immediately came back down, closed underneath. And then we got this retest on this week and it played out to the downside. Now, it didn't go very far because all it's doing is going to, you know, if you're looking for a demand zone out of this, you're looking for the lowest bearish closing price, right? So that'd be the bottom of those red candles. And it comes to this guy right here. And I know that it's this one because if you look, you know, where does this wick down to? Well, the next bearish candle is way down here. So it doesn't wick down, you know, it doesn't wick into another demand zone, you know, the next demand zone, I guess you could say. So this is, you know, this is going to represent where the buyers are going to sit. And not just where the buyers sit, but where we can get a signal from, knowing that there, you know, is buy side liquidity here. And I mean, and it plays out, right? You can see this on this week. So all we're doing here is just, you know, we had our first attempt of massive supply side, right? Sell side liquidity. Obviously, and that does normally win out, especially with earnings coming up, but I pulled back to the, you know, to the local demand. Obviously, this is like the, you know, the first demand zone. And it's holding. So, I mean, I would watch earnings on this. I mean, here's the thing for me, like, I still want to see if we pop up, let's say we gap up tomorrow, right? Or Thursday, I still want to see that weekly close over 167, you know, because that's our signal, right? We get, you know, the zone that we really want to see, or we're going to get the signal from is this supply zone, this big boy here. And what, you know, for continuation, we want to see a, you know, close over top, because at that point, I would expect price to move higher. Oops. To the downside. And we don't have to stay on the weekly, but normally it really does seem like that's been the way. So yeah, looking for demand, I come down to this and I immediately move down to the wick and I look to the left, right? When I look to the left, I come upon this bearish candle here. And so you can see that if I snap a line on this little tiny body here, I'm just going to do the bottom. You can see how this is testing, you know, this is bouncing off of this demand here, which you could say is a bigger zone, right? Of just this, it was the resistance, that was the top, you know, for all these years. But the thing is, whatever, right? That's to get it again, not all I'm looking for is a signal, and which zone should I get the signal from? So not worried about this zone down here right now, even though you could probably snap a line there. The next candle up, the next lowest closing bearish candle, you know, consecutively moving up. Obviously, it's not this one or this, it's this guy here, right? Obviously, out of these three, this is the candle that closes the lowest or has the bearish, you know, lower but bearish close. So that would be a demand. What else? The next one up, it's actually going to be this. And you can see how that did play out, right? Boom, boom. They did have a gap down, but again, that doesn't matter. What we're looking for are closes. And it pushed straight up in. And then once you got that bullish close over, or I know you guys can't see that probably. Once you got that bullish close over, we had, this one kind of in between week where we retested that liquidity one last time, closed here, and then obviously it was off to the races with earnings. So it's always funny when I see earnings line up like that. And it's the same situation here. Now, I mean, it's not the exact same price action, but it's the same idea, right? We came up, we tested, a major supply area, it rejected, and we pulled back to the local demand zone, and it's holding. I mean, and it makes sense that it's holding, right? Because they're anticipating, it's in there, people are anticipating, earnings. So it's like you're not going to fucking sell it off unless something really is off about it. Anyway, so that's what I'm seeing with that, dude. I mean, there is that so these are the demand zones down here. I guess the reason I'm pointing these out is because if we do see, let's say you see a negative reaction to the earnings. Fuck, what's going on there? That I would expect it to come down to these weekly levels, one of them, probably this guy here, because this is kind of like a minor zone. But at the same time, it is like it does stand out. So you could see price wick down to this. Obviously, this is the zone we're at now. And possibly it goes lower too. I mean, and you could just call this a zone at the end of the day. I mean, it just know that it is bouncing off this here. So yeah, I can post this, man. Now, I mean, I don't have, what else are you thinking? Like, are you looking? I don't have anything to really say on earnings about it because I think that, I think that they could do really well, but I have, again, some things have done really well and sold off. So I just don't really have a prediction on it. I probably would buy. Well, let's look at some options. Do you have any options in hand, Danny? Or any,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, yeah. No, I just wanted to look at this because, I'm hearing chatter that this is going to make a big move. So, looking at your zones, it's, like you said, if it sells off, there's a big drop down. But if it goes up, you have a nice move up.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it could move up, nicely. I mean, even from where we're at, right? What is that, 140? Again, I would expect it to pop up over this zone, or at least try to attempt that. So, I mean, that's,
Yeah, and I was just looking at the options flow, and I see the 145s being bought for this week on the call side.
Yeah, I see that too.
Like someone came in and bought
1500 today, right?
Yeah,
1488 volume I'm seeing. Is that right? Or is it sometimes
yeah,
the
that's
flow
what I
will
see.
show more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then
nice.
if you look at the 5-day chart of that option,
look at the 160s.
Yeah, exactly. They're cheap and somebody loaded up on them.
Dude, loaded up 26, almost 2700 today alone. Open interest is 53. And yeah, dude, they're 13 cents. So
and I don't want to miss a move like what Nvidia did.
No, and this thing does have, now let's look to the put side too. So the IV is a little higher on the put side. So not this, I mean it is, but it may have just been the way that the day closed. It's not, it's pretty close anyways. It's actually almost the same, right? At
you don't really see much open. I mean, you don't really see much volume exceeding open interest on that side.
Yeah,
like the calls.
No, you don't. You're right. So there's so the 130s, there's a little, 1600 OI, but nothing really added today. There are a shit ton at 135, 7400 open interest, but there was only 157 added today.
Wait, so you're saying that's for this week?
Yeah. Yep. I can share this.
135. I don't see that. Open interest puts, I see only 207.
Yeah. Let me show you the let me switch the screen here. All right, you guys, hold on. There we go. All right, should be able to see this here. It's going to be small, but yeah. So what I'm looking at here, so this is open interest on the put side.
Oh wow.
7401, 157, and that is for the 135s right here.
135s. I see that on my E-Trade.
Yeah, this is now this, but here's the thing too. This is open interest, so I don't know.
Could they have closed them
know,
out?
No. They wouldn't have closed them out. It means, but I mean, we don't know when they bought them. I don't know how long this thing has had 7,000 or even close to that, right?
Oh yeah.
We can come over here to the call side and see just from the volume. We know that those 145s had almost 1,500 added today alone.
Yeah, today.
And
Yep.
almost 2,700 of those fucking 160s. And look where the 160s are, bro. It's not even at the top of the fucking weekly zone. And that's so yeah, dude. I'm glad you're pointing this out. Absolutely. Remind me in the morning if I haven't mentioned it, or if I haven't posted about it or whatever. To
Maybe even
to
a straddle
pick
will
these
work on
up.
this.
100, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick up a few different call sides. I mean, these are cheap, dude. This far out the money and I mean, look, this is a lot of for anybody that's listening. But even I mean, all right, so the 145s, but I mean, dude, that's only 5 points out the money right now. Like I don't even
Wait,
know if I
which
care
one is
about
the
that for
5,300?
that's the 160s. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the
And
top
they're
of your zone, no?
13 cents. Yeah. Well, look at the spread on this. You got to be careful with this too. It's 13 cents to 5 cents.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But but here's the thing, it's an options lotto. So see where it opens tomorrow as well and just see what
Yeah,
price
you never know. I mean,
fluctuates
look at SE, right? People bought lotto puts to the downside and they paid up big time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, 100%. Well, yeah. And I would get puts to this too. Because I mean, look, the thing is, it could come down if this sells off hard. I mean, I don't know where it would go on earnings. Let's see what other earnings have looked like on this. Because I do think to the downside, like if Nvidia sold off to the downside, it wasn't going to sell. Let's say they come in and they can't, they miss, this. A lot of people are like, oh, if Nvidia misses, it's going to fucking, it's going to drop to 200, or some crazy shit. But I don't really think that. I don't think Nvidia, if it misses, next week. I think it's next week of reports we were just talking about. I mean, I think it'll sell off, but I don't think it'll sell off as hard as we think. I think it will, because there's still a lot of it really just depends. Like they may miss it depends on how far they miss, I guess, right? But they're not going to come out and be like, oh, we can't do any of what we said. Like their demand is fucking, eaten up. Like there's no I shouldn't say eaten up, but their demand is as strong as it's ever been, right? Like they can't make enough. So I mean, even if they miss their crazy ass numbers that they talked about last earnings, I don't, the thing is like, how far are you really going to sell that down? Because I mean,
I
they're all
think
sold,
Nvidia is definitely going to be good for a straddle both ways. Just if
Yeah.
that thing's going to move another 100 points, I remember when the earnings came out, people bought contracts for $1. They paid out $6,000 the next day each contract.
I know, dude. You talking about the last earnings that popped up?
Yeah.
I caught, dude. I did not go in heavy. I just happened to fucking. It was. I wish I had gone in heavier, dude. But at the same time, I always wish that. But I mean,
I know.
So I have those 25ths. Yeah. So I have those 525th expirations.
Yeah, every week they keep loading up on those,
they're slamming them, and the 475s and the fucking 450s or 460s.
I don't know if it's really gonna go there or if it's a buy the rumor, sell the news type of situation, right?
I mean, I can see them buying. Here's the thing: they have bought those, and the stock has moved down. And
or maybe somebody knows that they're gonna do a stock split. Who knows?
I don't know. That's true too. Shit. Hey, my son just woke up. Do you guys want to chill for like 5 minutes while I put him back to sleep?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm happy to chat about this more. Let me mute. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Danny, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so I do notice that you keep an eye on the IV and you keep an eye on the open interest.
Yeah.
I have to constantly remind myself to look at that. Now, when I'm looking at contracts for, let's say, like a company like ZIM, and I want to do like covered calls or something like that, I'll look at it, but I never look at the IV when I'm going into like SPY or Tesla or Apple or anything like that. And I think it really messed me up today, not looking at
SPY's been very vicious lately. Like if you're not fast with your, the trigger, you can definitely get caught in that one.
Yeah, I was chasing the trade today, and it was the same thing on Monday. That morning drop, I miss it. Like I miss the morning drop because I don't want to get into something
Yeah.
too fast. I like the morning to shake out, and then the rest of the day has been trading sideways. I did buy SPY calls at the end of the day today.
Oh, you did? So you're looking for the bounce.
I'm looking for the bounce tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna close them out.
Um,
I mean, they expire tomorrow, so I'm closing them out as soon as they open. But I bought them for like 60 cents, so it wasn't really expensive.
okay. Let me take a look at the chart. See. Looks like SPY filled on the 2 hour. Looks like there was a gap down to 442.98. That definitely filled. And there's another gap. It'll enter the gap at 441.10 all the way down to 438.
What are you looking at right now?
32. I'm looking at the 2 hour on the SPY.
Oh, okay. I'm hoping that the futures have a gap up tomorrow. They are green right now,
Yeah.
not by much, but I'm hoping that they have a gap up tomorrow and I can close out as soon as they open. I got it for the 16th and the 18th.
And the
I
future,
just kind of
where are the futures right now?
futures at 44, 55, 50.
44,
Only
55, 50. Oh, okay. So that's
Oh.
it's back above that 44, 43 level. You talk about SPX, right?
Yeah, MES. It's
Okay.
only up let's see, 0.04%. So it's not up
Yeah.
much, but our biggest moves are at 4 a.m. and at
Yeah, that's true.
30.
Yeah,
8
but look
o'clock.
at last night. Like we were above 40. We went to 45.01 or something like that, right? And
Let me see
then
this.
you woke up this morning and we were down around 44.55 or 44.60.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I went to sleep thinking like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a positive day. I woke up, I'm like, wow, we're down.
44.91. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, I
Wait,
could have
no.
sworn I saw the high yesterday night somewhere
Let's
be like
yeah,
45.01, I think.
I didn't go back far enough. I'm on the 5 minute. I need to go back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It might help
Yeah,
if I get on
and then
the
I
time.
woke up this morning. I was like, oh wow, we were at 44.68 when I first looked at it in the morning. I'm like, okay, something's going on. And people got to pay attention to the 10-year Treasury. As that thing keeps climbing higher, we keep dropping harder, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I
So
don't mind playing the put side, but I think I'm just getting in too late. But there wasn't a big enough push up
yeah,
this evening for me to be convinced that we're not going to push up tomorrow. Just to recover
yeah,
from that.
I do feel bearish for some reason. I just feel like
I'm bearish
no
too. I mean,
one's
everything that I have is in
convinced.
a downtrend. Everything that I have, and what I really want to do is short the pops. But the
Yes, that was
pops,
the play from the beginning of the week, and I think Alex called it out in the chat. He was like, "Short the pops, short the pops."
short the pops, and that's what I've been doing with IWM, and I'm
Yeah,
rocking it with IWM. I'm shorting the pops. I'm taking my profits on their downside, but I am not doing that well with SPY. It's just not happening for me when I try and do it with SPY. But it's like I told him earlier, my losses are only like $16 to $17, but those
that's not bad.
$16 are starting to add up.
So you said you were also playing IWM. Did you take any calls or puts on those recently overnight or
Yes.
no?
So Friday I took puts. I want to say it
Because
was
you guys
Friday.
do you guys remember the flow I gave the other day with IWM? There was like
No,
260,000 open interest or something on like the 185 for the put
no,
side.
I don't remember. I could tell you what I got
I'm
on
back, but
IWM.
Let me see. I think it was in the. Are you in the same Twitter group?
yeah, she
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah, there was like a huge, like I think I pointed out like huge IWM put flow or something. Well, it was like over 250,000 contracts at one point. Like I think it was like last week.
So I don't remember
Or
seeing that. I'm hardly in there because I get
yeah, let me
so
see
many
if I
freaking
find it.
notifications from that.
And believe it or
Let's-
not, look what's going on. We're dropping.
Yeah. And I got in at the middle or end of last week, and I got my expiration for the 25th of August. And
Okay,
when it drops down and I make a little bit of money, I go on ahead and take my profits. So I'm in and out of like 2 contracts, in and out of 2
gotcha.
contracts. And I've been doing really, really good with that. But like I said, those 16 and $17 that I'm losing on SPY, they're adding up. And
They add up fast. Yep. Before you
kind of
know it.
like breaking even right now,
And then if
you
you're
know?
carrying anything overnight, if that doesn't do well, those will add up
No,
too.
no. And when earnings first started, I carried Tues, SPY, and IWM overnight. I don't remember if it was calls or puts. I really don't remember. It's probably calls.
Yeah.
And then the market turned around. I think I bought it on the dip and it just continued to dip. I think that's what it was.
So
But
are
I got
you
out.
following your normal trading pattern, or are you trying to swing a little bit more?
So when I first started trading, I would swing all the time. And
Yeah.
I would really, what I would do is I would do my research, do the conviction, and then I wouldn't even look at it
Well,
until
like in the last like 6 months, what have you been doing?
in the last
Mainly
6
day
months it's
trading
been
and
doing
out.
day trade, just day trading. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then, I saw the continuation going up. So I was like, well, I'm gonna get into some swings. So I'm gonna wait until there's a pullback. I just didn't know that it would be 3 continuous weeks of pullbacks.
Yeah. So I'm
We're on the
thinking,
3rd
I'm
week.
thinking that swinging trading method is gonna be put on pause for a while. The
Yeah,
way this market is reacting.
right, right. But I'm doing really
And
good with
what's
that
the
IWM put,
yeah? I'm
and
trying
I
to
just
find the flow I had on that. It was huge. It was like
I
I think it
don't
was like the
remember seeing that,
185
but yeah,
puts.
I think you
it
can
was
search it. Can't you search can you search
I'm in the group right now
the
looking
DM
for it.
group? Yeah. No, can you search like within the group?
No, I don't know how to do that. I don't
Maybe you
think it allows me
can't.
to do that.
Yeah.
I gotta keep
Yeah.
scrolling.
I'm probably thinking of
Uh,
like, I don't know, Telegram
SMC,
or something.
KLD.
so with me popping in and out of the IWMs, it's showing that I'm at 1,000% right now. So I don't know
Wow.
on the day game, but really I'm at like 40% on the
Wow.
total gain. But it's because I'm
Oh,
popping in and out of them.
okay. When was this? You know what I noticed? Whenever I post this flow, it seems like it's taking at least another week, a week extra or two for it to play out. So I'm looking at some flow I gave on Tesla on what was this? This was Thursday of last week. And I had circled the 230s. It was like 8.9K contracts on the volume, right? And the open interest is only 55, right? And that's 230. Look where we are. We're almost at 230.
What ticker?
Tesla.
Tesla. Mhm.
Oh, you said that. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I'm
I
still putting these
circled.
these option contracts
Yeah.
in.
So last week I sent it on Thursday. I was like, I noticed all this huge, volume in the put side for October
Oh, we
20th.
talked. Yeah. I think we talked about the 230s because
Yeah, yeah,
because that was the EM. I remember. I think
yeah. So
yeah.
the
It was
two,
like,
believe it
that's
or
the
not, the
expected move.
230s, there was 8.9K contracts, right? On the
Should've fucking
volume.
bought
Open
those up.
interest was only 55.
Yeah.
It gets even better. There's 220s and then there's
And
200s.
so the 220. So check this out. 220 is the second deviation. 200s make sense because I don't know if you'd buy it at that.
Well, if you look at my daily chart I posted on Twitter, the
Yeah.
0.618 fib brings us down to like 208 area. So
Yeah, and that's the third deviation down.
yeah, so maybe we go further down.
207.20. So
And if they're raising rates, who's buying cars, right? Who's going to be buying a Tesla?
yeah, I mean well, that's the thing. What's the expiration on those?
That was October 20th.
Okay, yeah. So that's got plenty of time. Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's got plenty of time to play out.
I mean,
So
it
do we
definitely
think that
does.
Tesla's going to go back down to the $100 again?
Possibly, yeah. Just
I
imagine
only
Elon
own 2
comes out.
Tesla shares because when I saw it starting to drop, I was like, well, I'm gonna just wait until it finishes dropping to get into it. So I only own
Yeah.
2 Tesla shares.
Imagine
But I
Elon
am
comes out
down
and he
like a
says
mug
he's
on those.
imagine he comes out saying he's selling shares.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it'll drop. I mean, I do want. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'd have to sell off Is there any bullish flow on Tesla?
I could check.
Curious because I know. But listen, we had such a run up there, dude. The weekly, like the next weekly zone is fucking, takes us to a 186. So I mean, that's demand, that's weekly demand is 186.21. So I mean, this is a volume gap. I'm sure if I put a volume profile up and only had that, you'd
Can
see,
you post that chart? Because I don't have that. I have my next weekly zone
what's that?
on Tesla. I have at 163.79.
163.
Yeah, I'm on the weekly.
You got this little guy.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? It's not that.
Wait, what do you have for?
No, I missed this fucking candle right here. Hold on. Yeah, no, it is this. It is. I got 164.31. That's actually going to be the support level. That's the.
I have on the weekly. The 0.618 fib is around 192 on the weekly.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, that would put us. Right in here. So I mean,
and the next one below that I have it between 110 and 120.
With what's going on in China, isn't that going to affect their sales?
Yeah, but they lowered prices and shit. I mean, yeah, it should if affects their sales. Yeah,
like that economy is hurting right now. No.
It is, but they're injecting liquidity. So I mean, I hesitate to
gotcha.
Get like too. I'm not bullish. I think certain things could take a hit, and probably Tesla sales will. But I don't know if if China's going to keep doing QE. They're basically doing QE. That's they're doing their own QE. Like
you would think all the Chinese stocks would pump right after. Did they even start the QE yet or no?
I don't know. They've talked about a few different things. So I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they've already injected liquidity. But the thing is, there's other news that sent it down. And I don't want to get it confused with the Japan news, but there's something else that slammed everything down. That came out recently, but then they talked about doing away with the tax basically for taking trades. It's like a 1% or 0.1% or something like that. Fee, right? That don't quote me on what the amount is, but it's a fee for every time a foreign investor takes a trade. So what it limits is the speed trading, right? Like large funds coming in with the the ultra fast algo trading, right? High speed trading. So if they take that, they rumored to take that away, and then their markets rallied off of that, right? Because it's like, okay, if they remove that tax, funds will come pouring into China and just do high frequency trading. It's not worth it when they're getting charged more than what they make. Are you familiar with the high frequency trading?
I've
no.
never heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's funds. This is what algorithms, some algorithms do. They have computers, right? They literally pay for the fastest connection. All right. I mean, to wherever the exchanges are, right? So they would actually set up shop in China, in the city, right? It's the same. They do the same in the US, where they literally fight for the fastest communication line, right? Like telephone line, basically, or optics, obviously, but from Chicago to New York. And what it's doing is it's high frequency trading that's literally just taking off like a penny or two, right? It's how they front run markets. It's what the fucking whole Robinhood thing does. You put your order in Robinhood, right? It's immediately shooting out. Like if it knows you want to buy something, it's going to bump the price like half of a penny, right? But the thing is, it does, I don't know what it does like thousands of these transactions every minute, right? It takes these massive computers, it takes a very an optical line, and it's legal, but I mean, I don't know, probably shouldn't be to a certain degree, but yeah, no, I can't. You look it up. You guys will be fucking amazed. That's what a lot of trading is. Like a lot of the algo trading is high frequency trading. That's just playing. Like if you trade futures or Forex and you just watch the depth of market, where it's just you have these, it's like prices moving up and down. Literally there are programs or algos that will trade that difference, right? And they're literally just in and out, in and out. I mean, but in and out like in a fraction of a second. They're taking ticks
That's
off.
crazy.
Yep, but they make money. I mean, it's where, if you enough volume, right? And the thing is, it's almost like a guaranteed win because you're just trading like the tick chain. You're trading. It's like trading the inner workings. It's like trading like a clock that ticks every second. You know what I mean? Except it's it's like it's gonna tick every. It has to move. The second hand has to move for the clock to work. So if you could make money from that, great, right? But if it was it's tiny amount to where they have to make hundreds, millions of these trades, I'm sure every week. And but yeah, check it out. High frequency trading, algo trading. You'll be like, huh, no shit. This is it makes you think like it's not that the market's rigged, but it is not rigged it's not set up in our favor, right? That's why we literally just, I don't know. People try to make too much out of it. We just want to ride the backs of price. Like we don't move price,
Yeah.
Not in this, but I mean, in the simplest form, like we literally don't do shit. And that's why we get burnt half the time because there's a lot going on in the markets, but
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So I posted that in the watch list, this Tesla chart. So I had to correct myself. My weekly zone is not at 186.84. I didn't see this little guy right here. This is going to represent it more than anything. So literally the weekly demand or support I have is 164.31. We may see some interaction. I mean, I'm sure we'll see a bounce. We're coming into what was the old resistance, right? At 228.52. It's just underneath the weekly expected move here. We have a second one down here as well, right? So just above the third. So that'd be 208. These are just old resistance levels that when we retest, we'll probably get a bounce. It doesn't mean that we have to.
Do you have your screen up right now? I don't think I see it.
Oh, you guys, no, I never changed it.
Yeah, I'm looking at an options chart and I was like, wait a minute, what am I missing?
That sucks. Yeah, okay. No, here we go.
There you go.
Way more sense. I thought I did this already, but it's anyways, I can see it. If I double check it, it's probably the way to do it. Yeah. So what I was looking at before was where my cursor is here. Because I didn't see this fucking candle down here, this like nothing candle. But that means that this is not your demand. You may see some there's going to be levels in here because this is a weekly chart, but your demand is truly way the fuck down here. Now you could say like, hey, it's it includes like 166, but all I do at this point is just snap a line on 160. I snap a line on the support level and 164.31. That's and listen, you can see how it's confirmed because look what the first right before we launched, like really launched, right? We have this big fucking wick gets bought up. That's your support level, right? Now that's your weekly support. What do? We push up, you get a little bit of a pullback and a perfect retest right there. Now, hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Like that's the confirmation, right? And it's not just that confirmation that, hey, okay, the strategy works. It's confirmation that this level fucking means something, right? And that's what we're looking for. Obviously it's nice to know that the strategy is fucking working out, but what we're really looking for here is, when I see a test like this, price, wicks down, buyers stepped in, that is the mark. So this 164.31, definitely like I want it on my chart, right? And it just kind of confirms like that zone, although there's not much going on here. Anyways, back to those resistance levels, because I know, like, and honestly, that 618 retracement, dude, is probably going to be more valid than anything because of the run that we had. That's the thing. I mean, fibs, I think fibs are, when you have a run like this on the weekly, like, there are levels here you can talk about pulling back to, but I mean, damn, right?
That's
like
a
it
nice
makes
run.
sense. Yeah, right. I mean, like, what you pull back on that, it's like, okay, well, where are we gonna go? Like, it's exactly what SJ asked. Like, so what are we going all the way back down to $100 oil? Probably not. But the thing is, or $100 oil, $100 Tesla, but it's like probably not. But the thing is that, like, that's literally, you look at this chart, it's like, well, it could pull all the way back down, 200. Why not go back? Why not drop some more? So, oh man. Anyways, right, weren't we at? We were at down to $100, dude. I I made so much money, dude, playing down the downside because I was aiming for 130, that whole thing. Had it all zoned out and shit. And I never bought when it was at $100. I was so sucked into the fact that we were probably going to go lower, even though I knew we were at a weekly zone, right? Weekly demand, like really the last weekly demand before, this is going back when we really started to move, right? 2020, when Tesla made like its big moves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
this
I
is
hate
where
Tesla because of that.
Oh, dude, this is what gave me, like, I missed the first Tesla real run, right?
Yeah.
2020. And I was like, I'm not gonna miss the second one, dude. And I just kind of waited. I didn't know there was a second one coming, right? But I knew that Tesla was just super volatile, had all the hype. And when we broke out here, right? Oops. No, I'm fucking with that gap. But anyways, yeah, when we broke out, I'm pretty sure this was it and made this move up to here, dude. That was that move alone in options at the time, right? Because this obviously was worth a lot more at the time. This is the one I missed, the first one. And dude, people made, 30, 40, 50 grand. And my account was small at that time. But anyways, by the time this was all said and done, these few weeks here, I was my account crested 100K. And I was like, okay, this is fucking,
Oh wow.
I'm like,
I
this
got
is what I
caught.
want to pay attention to.
I
Yeah,
got caught in a short.
Oh yeah, no, dude, that's
It was the most horrible short ever. Lasted forever.
did
But
it
eventually
play
my
out?
my it played out, but it took over a year to play out. I was literally in a short for like over a year
Wait,
at 650, ran it all the way up.
no shit. So when did it come back? Like after here? It must have been up here, right? Where you pushed up and came back down.
No, I took it all the way down to that 110 level.
Oh, you just took it off this past year.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God,
It was
yeah,
the
no.
most it
Oh
was the
my
most
God.
painful short ever.
Yeah, no, that's
It was like
damn.
50 shares too.
So yeah, see, that's the lesson to stop it out. So
Yeah.
opportunity cost. We probably don't even want to talk about that. Yeah, 50 shares back here is probably how many shares you have left by the time we got here.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
know?
God. Well, no, I held it through. What I was doing was
No, I just mean from the splits, because then we had two split. Well, maybe you'd already got the split
two
here, but
splits. Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, wow.
So
Look
to
at these.
offset that run, I would actually buy shares just to keep my position where it is, and then
Yeah,
run it up, and then get rid of those shares and hold it short, and then try to play it back down.
yeah.
So it was painful, but I got out profitable. Believe it or not, it was crazy.
Well, yeah, no. Listen, this sell off was this sell off. You got to remember, like Tesla was almost $1,000 right here.
Yeah.
I think this first push up, that peak was $1,000 right there. So, right, or maybe even more. We had a 5-to-1 split, and then what was this?
It was
Yeah,
at
3-to-1
1,200 at one point in time.
Yeah, this might have been 12. Yeah, no, this was like the 1,200 because it was no, this was my buddy. So the one that I missed, he wrote it to 1,000. Is that right? Or is that the one I was in? I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. But I remember it hit 1,000, then it sold off, right? I'm pretty sure it was this right here where it wrote up. I want to say that hit 1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it was here. What is this? No, that's 2019. No, that is 220. I don't know. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this was it where it pushed up. Either way,
Yeah,
but it
definitely.
hit
Yep.
it crested either 1,000 or maybe it was more. And
Yeah, it was like
sell,
August,
dude.
I think.
Yeah, no, he took a contract from friggin' yeah, no, that was July. So he took a contract from, oh man, it was like friggin' 3 grand or something like that, or 22 grand. And it was the
To
first
3
time
mil.
I ever, no, it wasn't 3 mil. No, he played it up, dude. It was 30,000 though. So it was literally, that's the thing though. It wasn't after that, dude, the runs after that, that's when shit got wild.
Yeah,
and that's
my
why,
business
dude,
partner, he had 20,000 sitting in a random account. He bought calls on Tesla, and he kept rolling them, and he turned 20K into 3 mil.
Yeah, no, you could do that for sure. And I mean, look, that's
sitting right next to me. I'm like, unbelievable. I'm watching this guy just every day. The contracts just kept tripling.
It's insane when you're that deep in the money, dude. it turns
You don't
into
even have to
another
sell them. You
beast.
just let them go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, you let them go. And you can. I mean, shit. There's so many things you can do once they're that deep in the money. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is what grew a lot of my account at first. Now I really didn't. My account like crested 100,000, went up. Went down. I played a lot of Tesla, but I missed. Well, I shouldn't say I missed some of it, but like I wouldn't play Tesla until the breakout up here. I was
Yeah.
learning a lot of shit, but and then obviously really it's a funny to me that the sell off, but I mean you look at how many opportunities we had here, dude, just on Tesla.
Ton. Yep. Ton.
Selling off, I mean this past like 18 months, man. I mean it's pretty wild. But anyways, yeah, these opportunities, I mean it's not the same, it's never going to be the same opportunity, right? But I mean maybe another ticker will come along like Tesla, but the thing is the market opportunity, but the volatility is still here, so like it's up to us to really like capitalize on that shit, not to FOMO in, but to just be aware. Like TLT, here's what I'm waiting for. And it may be another 2 years till this happens, but TLT, guys, go look at what happened back in 2019, right? Or 2018, 19, right before the pandemic and then leading into the pandemic. You look at what the contracts did there. I mean, those went wild. Like people made millions. And, it was predictable to people that understood what the Fed was going to do, right? I'm not saying they'll have to do that exact same thing again, but like it's worth kind of like keeping an eye on, keeping that in the back of your head for the macro shit, because it may be a couple of years, few years. It's nothing you can really act on right now, except maybe practice, kind of, get familiar with it. But there are opportunities, waiting for the events are, I haven't done as much of that because there haven't been as many big events except to the downside. Well, I shouldn't say that. We played events, right? We played all the data releases. It just doesn't feel the same as like some of these big explosive moves. But if we do get out of this shithole, this shit streak that we're in, even if it's in a year or two, and like some of the, there's going to be new names to start exploding. If it really, if we really do start another bull market, there's going to be some huge opportunities. And with the way that options are nowadays, I have a feeling it's going to be a whole new world. It's not going to be, people made a lot of money from 2007 or 2001 to 2006 even, right? And then, from the great financial crash. But what we have as opportunities, like what we did in 2020 pales that in comparison, just so, makes it look like it was nothing.
I noticed every year, I
fortunes.
always notice August always tends to be a sell month, like a huge bear month.
Yeah, I think
It's
it
been
is.
like that for the past couple of years. Yeah.
Yep.
It's playing out again right in front of our eyes. I mean, like
it's not
everything,
yeah.
every August it sells off. It's insane. Remember that one stock, HKD? It was the only stock that was like bullish in August, and I think it was like last year. It ran up to like 1,000 from like $5.
Yeah, I need to look at it. Yeah, I remember the ticker name, but can't picture the fucking chart.
Yeah, it was like the only stock going up. It was like a Chinese bank or something.
Oh yeah, it was HKG, right?
HKD.
HKD.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
think that's it.
AMTD Digital. And
Yeah,
then,
I think that was it. I think it went like all up to like $1,000 or $2,000.
yeah. So in a month, right? Yeah, 2,500, almost 26. So that's a monthly chart. What's the oh no,
That was
when
insane.
in a couple days.
It was like
yeah.
2-3 days. Yeah, it was August too. I was on the beach watching this thing fly. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Oh, that was only a year ago. No shit.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, interesting, man. No, and that's something. I mean, dude, that's the thing. If we get another, like, I don't know if we'll ever have another meme coin or crypto alt season like we had.
I got a buy-in on Bitcoin right now at 27.5 based on your zones. I want to see if it fills.
Yeah. No, well, that's yeah, and I actually do have legacy zones for Bitcoin. I just got to find the right layout for it. But could go back through, and they're bigger though, but they are like targets, you know what I mean? But dude, the altcoins, I mean, this is what that reminds me of, right? I mean, in what,
Yep.
In a week you shoot up, but this is what TLT did. I mean, look at TLT real quick.
So TLT will go up if the Fed pivots, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, if they start printing money, right? That's
it's got to be printing money. Okay.
Well, it's zero interest rates. It's lowering interest rates because that affects the bonds, right? And then in the treasuries, let's say whatever, it's treasury bond, And that's what affected this. So what happened here is in 2019, and again, I wasn't like, I heard about this afterwards, and then I kind of
Mhm.
watched this happen. This though, I mean, this happened, these were daily candles, right? So this thing gapped, massively, right? Up, slammed back down, and it gave another opportunity to push back up. But what happened, the way, I don't know if it's just TLT, man, the contracts, it was just nuts, dude. Like, it was crazy. And I wasn't even following contracts that well. I just was paying attention to people that, did and that talked about it. One guy caught it. He caught it here, so he was kind of prepared if it happened again, right? And I didn't know shit about the Fed, right? Still didn't when it came time to sell off. Like, I should have been paying attention. That's why like I do pay attention to like I want to take this as a lesson, right? So that if the key though is not to like know exactly what the Fed is going to do. It's just that if the economic circumstances start to change, right? If the economic winds start to shift, like, to be aware enough to be like, okay, what is this meaning? Like, what would the Fed, what is the Fed really going to do? Now what people are talking about, not the short-term shift, because then you can catch, you can catch some moves like this. And even anticipate something like if we ever had QE again, which I feel like we're probably going to have something eventually, like there's no way we're dealing with the debt, right? You
Yeah,
know
but
what I mean?
I don't
Like,
think. I think they're gonna try to normalize rates up here. Honestly, like we're
yeah,
above 2008 levels on the 10-year
yeah,
right now.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, 10 years, fucking
Yeah, we're over
cranking, baby.
2008 levels. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, this is, yeah, but we are hanging out up here. It'll be interesting to see what we do. But yeah, no, this is wild. The thing is, I mean, our debt is just massive no matter what, right? Like, I feel like they're gonna have to do something with that. The question is whether it's like their digital currency, and does it actually affect like, does it affect something like TLT? You know what I mean? Like, they may, I don't know, there's so many, you could go in all different directions, like what they could do, couldn't do, but the thing is just to be aware that once things do start to change,
Mhm.
it just to be, be ready for it, because there's some huge opportunities. But yeah, no, this is massive. This is obviously, this is huge. There was a supply zone here I had for the longest time.
Yeah, it's about to
And
break. It's about to break above.
yep.
It looks like.
Yeah. Well, this is the monthly, but there's a weekly zone here. But yeah, this is the monthly here. You're right. And if we close the month above, that'll be a new.
I
Actually,
feel
I'm
like
gonna
they're
snap it on there.
intentionally trying to like push us into like a recession or break something now. Like,
Well,
it's starting
yeah.
to feel like that.
I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, they don't have a choice. I don't want to say they don't have a choice, but they don't have many options, right? I do think, and of course, the problem is like, look at other countries around the world. I mean, they're getting destroyed because we're the reserve currency. So even as bad as like what we think is, it's really not that bad compared to countries that depend on the dollar. But but then again, they can't depend on anything else. It's not like they're going to drop the dollar. It's just they kind of, they're not the reserve currency. So, but I do think they're going to push digital, right? Whether it's called CBDCs or something else or whatever, it's that. I mean, it's just that's the most
Yeah, I see that coming
efficient.
too.
Yeah, it's the most efficient, dude. It implements the control factors, the data retrieval. I mean, it's just there's I just don't see how you get around it. So it's yeah, no, it's I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. It is what
Do you
it
guys
is.
see that in the chat? I put the post from the IWM puts. It was actually
Oh, no.
133,000 the 185 puts.
Was that on? And that was what? Oh, that was earlier, right? Yeah.
That was last week, but I just took a snapshot of it. It was from the group.
Yeah,
And look, we're
definitely
heading.
post, I mean, feel free to tag, I don't know, like if big things come up like that, grab my attention or something, or I don't know. I because I know you do
Yeah.
grab my attention, but yeah,
Post it
it's
in the
like,
Discord, because I pay attention to the Discord more than I do
yeah,
the
definitely
Oh,
post.
yeah.
Well,
chat.
I know you do post shit in here though,
Yeah.
but yeah, post it in here for sure. Grab my attention, or in the DMs, and I'll
So the other one I was looking at
fucking-
also, you know how there was an ARC play. I think it was like the $40
yeah.
puts.
I remember looking at those too.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't approve that spot Bitcoin ETF or something.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I don't know if that's gonna play out, but that's next on the list, possibly. And it was the $40 puts. This is
Okay,
when it
so
was up around like 43.75 or something.
yeah, so we're at that weekly demand. Are we holding it? Yeah, we did hold it here. But yeah, I mean, not that we couldn't dip down. I mean, 40 is pretty close. So they're the $40 puts.
Yeah, they were $40 puts. And are we gonna ever get that gap fill to 72 on Coinbase? That's another thing I was curious about. Like today it looked pretty bullish until we started selling off.
Yeah, Coinbase took such a hit, man. Got underneath that we can take a look at it for sure. I mean, ARK could be. See, I don't know. ARK, if tech rallies, man, if we actually start to rally and bounce here, like this is gonna move. That's the
It's at the bottom end, right?
yeah, like this is at well, it's just yeah, and again, it doesn't mean it's gonna break out and go like super crazy, but it's just like this, this whole price action here. I mean, this sold off with tech, you know what I mean? And yes,
Yeah.
obviously, it's not a direct correlation, but no, I mean, but then again, those 40 when did you post those though? Wasn't it just this
Thursday last
weekend?
week. It was in
Okay,
the
so
Twitter chat.
So it has played out a little bit. You have gotten like a 2-point move already from where that would
Yeah.
have been. So yeah, I don't know. And you're sitting on the 100-day. So yeah, I would want to see the week close underneath this 42.14. See Friday's close underneath that. Because if not, like it looks a lot like this 100 days holding and got the 200-day just underneath. Not that it can't dip to 40, but like, does it have to? Obviously, I like that AMAT better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think I'm gonna take a straddle play on that this week. Possibly tomorrow.
Tomorrow, dude. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Absolutely. That's why I was putting them on the. I was messing around with the option.
This guy, this Indian guy. He's like a big time trader. Let me see if I can find him. He posted something about it, and I said, the other day it was looking bearish, and it started pulling back a little bit, but he was like, yep, it's gonna make a move. It's either gonna bring the markets. He said literally he's gonna take the markets with it on its back. So he said if it goes up, the markets are going with it. If it goes down, the markets are going with it.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I can see it. It's Applied Materials is huge. So
yeah.
But it's also up near, all-time highs. It's fucking doing really well. All right, so the -2, I'm just looking at the EMs here for coins. So 67.75. That's the second deviation. And oops. Yeah, the first one, 74.38. Yeah,
so this closed bearish today, or is it right above a zone?
Well, no, it's yeah, so it's in between the legacy zones here. The next one's 77.70 to 75.13. But you're sitting right on the 50-day. So it did close the daily like right on the 50-day. For what it's worth, it doesn't mean. I mean, look, when it gets this close, I kind of feel like I expected at least at this point to come down, like to eventually come, to touch this zone. Just because, I mean, chances of it, not that it couldn't pop back up and go back up, but it's just normally you see it actually come down and touch the zone. The thing is, maybe it doesn't do it this week, right? Maybe this does pop a little bit, but I don't see it popping and like rocking out, Could
have sworn I saw somebody loaded the $20 puts on this. I didn't call that because it seemed extreme, but
yeah, and that's a total fucking see, here's the thing, they're not aiming for 20. You see that a lot of times on SPX or the VIX, right?
They're playing the volatility, right?
Yeah, they're playing, because like those things are so dirt fucking cheap, right? That if this thing, let's say it does drop down to like $50, those 20s are going to be cranking, you know what I mean? So most likely they're not trying to hold it to $20. They're literally, now, or it's, who knows, maybe it is a hedge, in case it goes to zero. Because, but I just don't, well, they're, there's all the SEC stuff. They're fighting back and forth, getting restraining orders.
Yep.
All that shit. So anyways, all right. Well, anything else? If not, let's wrap it up. We'll go to bed.
I guess one more minute of your time. There's another one.
No, you're good.
I'll bring it to your attention because it looks interesting.
You want this?
It's up 5%
you want me to post
today.
this chart or?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I got your original one earlier today.
Yeah, and daily demand, dude. This is the other thing. Right underneath the first EM to the downside is daily demand. So if you get down there 70, 72, 73, even that 74 level of
Should
the
bounce
EM,
there.
yeah, you should see some buyers step in there. So
Gotcha.
unless something's changed across crypto and whatever.
Gotcha. The other one, I don't know if you looked at this yet, but I was talking with this the guy Ian in
Yeah.
Twitter space. BDRY.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I have that. No, I don't have it charted. BDRY, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thing I've looked at this. This is the reason I don't like this is it's so illiquid. Right. See how we gap just
Yeah.
all over. But here's the thing. He plays it in this like he played this fucking this V for like or this this wave for a long time. So to see it kind of cresting up and pushing up, getting over the 50, it could move up to $7,
Yeah, there's a gap up there.
Yeah. Well, what are you looking at the gap? Because there's a huge gap. There's gaps everywhere.
BDRY. Yeah. The
Right?
bottom one's all filled. Yeah, there is. Let me check.
Yeah, I mean, you could say like gap here, but you're right. There's a massive gap down right here to 7. Yeah, 7 to 6, like 60. There actually is a pretty big gap here. But yeah, you look at all these, man, like this is fucking crazy.
Yep. And they look like they're filling one by one.
I mean, look, this thing, it had this had I mean, this is going since what, fucking April,
Yep.
I mean, it's just been selling off since April. So, I mean, it's coming back up. It's great, it's over the 50. Next target would be the 100 basically here. And this consolidation. I mean, this was the old support, right? You can see it act as resistance here, even though it's harder to see.
Here it is. It's on the daily. It actually goes all the way up to 650. And then there's more higher, but
What do you mean the gap does?
yeah, there's a couple of gaps up in that area on the
Oh,
daily.
no, there's a bunch. Yeah, no, there's
Yeah. And there's
yeah.
there's higher ones, of course, but the one that I see that's probably next to hit, if it does go, is up to 650 range.
Wait, does your chart look like my chart? 'Cause this thing
Um,
looks terrible. This is the thing. It's just gaps all over. Like there's
yeah,
all
there's a
right,
ton of gaps on
see,
this chart.
this looks better over
And
the after hour. See, look, put it on the 4-hour, man. This looks way
the
better.
on the daily, just throw it out there, this 0.618 fib is up around 811. So
Yeah,
right, so
and
the
that's right.
4-hour.
And that would get you up over the EMs and be ready to rock and roll. I mean, look, this thing could easily move back up to the top of its range up here. If it catches, if this dip is done and buyers start stepping back in, see the volume here, right? It's probably not as evident. Well, no, it is. So the volume, so like compare the volume. Blow this up. So this is why I love this. I mean, your volume looked the same, the bars look the same, but I like the different.
Okay.
This is relative strength, right? Inside of the volume. So Trader Lion's relative strength volume index or whatever, relative volume, I think it's called, but it's a free indicator anyways. But you see how the volume stepped up here. So we're starting to kind of see that on the dip. And then you saw this pop in today. Once it got over the 50.
Continuation.
Yeah. Well, you see this green volume bar here, right? This green one is, and it's when we broke the 50, we gapped up over it and the volume poured in. So that is a good sign that this is going to push higher. It doesn't have to right away, but again, all it needs to do, there's really not another good example except here where you have this other bar and it kept trending up, for another, whatever that is, week or two. So, I mean, this thing could easily push up to that 650 and then maybe maybe it dips a little bit but then again, it may not dip a lot. I mean, look at this oscillation. This thing, I mean, it's a lot of up and down, but if you're just in shares, I have no idea. Are there even options for this thing?
Yeah, I think there are. I didn't touch them though.
Gotta be monthlies though. Yeah. I'd be real
spark my attention.
I'd be really surprised if they had any liquidity. Yeah, they have like no volume today.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, personally, see, I wouldn't fuck with these. Now you could get these and then look for it to go, if they go in the money, right? And then you're literally just you're just exercising them. That's your goal.
Yeah.
But anyways. That's never really my goal with these. No, Ian's got a bunch, he's got some good names. Now Ian trades just shares, right? And he's going
Yeah,
after,
he comes out of the woodwork with some crazy stuff. He's like Weight Watchers, this, that. I'm
yeah.
like, what the hell is he trading?
Yeah, but he gets, on a $5
gets 'em, yeah.
stock, he gets $1, $2 out of it. And I mean, that's great.
Yep.
That's great percentages, and he's the thing is like, hey, if I can make, if he can make, 1,500-1,600 bucks in a day, even if it's a few times a week, like that's, for him, it's great because he's sitting,
Yeah.
he's got his shit
It's a
going,
bit, it's a bit
anyways.
safer than the options too, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Well, it is, although you get it in a name like this, dude. Look at these gaps. This is the danger zone here. Now, the thing is, you go to the 4 hour and you have more liquidity. Like you see the liquidity actually is there.
Oh
And
yeah.
so this does, and that's why I was like, all right, I gotta look at the 4 hour because this you do have like pre-market after hours movement. And so you could get out of your trades like if it started to move against you. So yeah, this is definitely a better ticker because I was like, wow, that daily is terrible.
Yep, for
But
sure.
yeah, so anyways, yeah, that's one. I mean, I trade shares sometimes, man. I'll trade commons. I just I don't know, it's like one more thing to do. And honestly, like I make enough money from the options that I'm happy just kind of stacking the
Yep.
cash because it's gonna be put to use sooner than later, right? Like either I'm gonna have a deal on property come up and I'll take some out for that, or we'll get a buying opportunity or a clear sign that like we're gonna, that really after the next big sell off, I'll buy, and I'll
Yeah.
buy heavy. Like I missed it fucking this time around. That's fine. I got time.
You think
So
we're gonna hit? You think we're heading to 4250 on SPX?
no, not yet. No,
No,
I don't think so
gotcha.
yet. No, I mean, and well, here's the thing. I personally, if you had to ask me, I would just say no, right? If that'll change if we, if we get a weekly close below, especially on ES, below this the 3388, if
Man, that's a
this
big
weekly
zone.
zone, yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's all just about the signal. That's because this weekly candle here was fucking
Oh,
massive, right? So it's literally just about the signal more than anything. And there are daily zones inside of here, although not as many as you'd think because it's it's well, I mean, there are daily zones, but it's not the problem is that we have oops, where am I going? There's really not that many daily zones in here. You got this one here and then this one up here because of the moves that we made, right? That was after that huge run up, that gap up that we had. We just came slamming down for a few days, all in 1 week. So it's all about the close. Now the Qs are at support here, right? So we're actually inside of that weekly zone. So that could be a sign, right? But you got to figure
the
out which
next
one you're
rate
going to
hike is gonna
follow.
take Tues further down. No.
I don't know. Depends on what they do, man. I mean, even if they raise it, if they only raise fucking 25 bips, like if it's if this is pricing it in, if part of this, because it's not just the indices, it's also like what's happening. Like KR, like you go to the banks, KRE,
Yeah.
getting they're getting fucked right now. And I mean, it's like
Those. I mean,
OZK.
that run already happened. No.
What to the downside?
KRE to the upside. That already were played out.
Oh yeah, no,
I think we
KRE's
caught that in the beginning.
no, yeah, KRE's getting sold the fuck off.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
no, it's starting to see that weakness now. It's not doing what it did over here, right? Let me go to the
Yeah, that was that play we caught from the 43 level, I think, right?
I believe so.
4250.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. No, we wrote it up. No, 100%. So you see how we're dropping here on the daily. It's looking bearish, but we could come down, dip here and then make a move back up. It'd still be kind of a head and shoulders pattern ish. I mean, at this point, it's kind of the breakout retest, but and that's the thing. If we come just back down to here on KRE to like the 44 or 45, that's even where that 50 day is, this orange. I mean, all that is this is if this was your head and shoulders, whatever,
Inverse head and shoulder. Yep.
your waistline, whatever, right? Your inverse, your waistline. This is just if
Man,
this
that was
comes back
beautiful,
and
that breakout.
yeah, well, and if this retests that, right, and it's just a retest of that, and then moves higher, well, then we'll know something changed. So that's my thing, I guess, right now. Every indice I look at, right, it's kind of like we're just at a point where there's no way to know. Like we could go up or down. I mean, even with the Dow, bro, like the Dow has been lit, and it finally today, literally finally today
Started
broke
selling off.
underneath. Yeah, well, it finally broke underneath that demand. I mean, it held for fucking ever, man. You know, it's like
Yeah.
7 days, 7 sessions. So now we got that moved down, but I do expect us to come down to that weekly, the weekly demand right here. So, you know, 34,619, but in the grand scheme of things, it bounces here, moves up, you know, and this doesn't have to happen this week. This thing, maybe it only comes here to this retest level. You know, this was the, this, you know, that was the resistance. I mean, it could do that and bounce. Just, you know, it's not that bearish yet. Like we haven't, I don't know. I just don't see, you know, it's not that bearish. Like this is not, I mean, the, you know, headwinds and stuff, economic stuff coming out, like definitely it is, but the thing to keep in mind is that it literally takes that nasty of like, you know, job or not job numbers, but you know, like the manufacturing index, you know, overseas, like basically China, like falling apart. It takes that much just to get us a fucking pullback, you know, that lasts more than a week. You
So
know what I mean?
You
Like
think we're gonna bounce?
yeah,
pretty much.
no, well, yeah, because and look, totally technical because we're at demand. Like this is exactly what I would expect, right? I don't expect this to go up forever. You know, like when we were cruising up, I thought at this, you know, we kept on going so hard. I was like, maybe we'll go up and tag the supply up here, but we don't need to yet. You know, we just came up, we tagged a minor zone. That's what that green dotted line is, and we're pulling back to the closest demand, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you know, I mean, and even last week, dude, as soon as we got almost tested, I mean, it was within like a couple points, or it was within 1 point, right? Yeah, it was 1 point that dip, you know, buyers stepped in and pushed us up. So, I mean, we know there's buyers sitting here. Obviously, volume this week is really low. There's shit going on this week. So I'm not just like, hey, it's got to bounce. I'm certainly not diving in saying it's definitely going to go down. I gotta laugh at that, dude, because you know, that's what fucking, it's just like bad habits don't drop, dude. Like, yes, we're gonna sell off sometime. My thing is, I don't even care about being the first one on the sell off. I'm
Sell-off is
happy to,
healthy.
yeah, dude. I mean, look, if we get a weekly close below this, right? I'll wait to really go heavy on the shorts, like for any swings. I'll wait for a retest, you know, or at least some type of, even if it's 2-3 weeks later, like we've seen, you know, in those other charts we were looking at earlier in this class. It's like, you know, 3 weeks later you get the fucking retest. But that's what can happen, right? We can get this close underneath, come down, bounce, come up, get that actual retest of liquidity, and then get that massive sell-off down to 42 or 41.50. And look, that is the next level, dude. Like if we break underneath here, I'm targeting 41.50. You know,
41.50.
Yeah, if we break, because there's no other weekly zone here. Can you see this right here? So if we break, no, listen, if we get the weekly close under 43.8850, right? I'm targeting the demand zone down here, the weekly demand at 41.50, 41.51 to 41.32. So
that's if that closed below there, definitely you let us know. I'm jumping in that play with you.
yeah. And I mean 4,200's right here. I mean, look, 41.50 is where we cut. I mean, this is where we struggled at. It's 41.50 to 4,200 forever. You know what I mean? We had that one move, went above, came right back down. But
the other day you called out, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I don't know. You were like, I'm jumping in these SPX calls. They're $4. They're gonna go to 13. I'm like, you said it mad like nonchalant, knowing it's going there. And I'm like, all right. I watched it. I'm like, holy shit, they went there.
Yeah, that's that standard deviation channel. Shit, dude, my son's waking back up, bro. I'm gonna have to cut this off.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear him screaming. But yeah, no, that's the standard deviation channel on those options chains. So we can chat about that again more. I'm glad you glad you unmuted, dude, because
love them.
Yeah, it's
the
easier
standard
to chat.
deviations.
Oh yeah, the channels are huge. Come here, dude.
Y'all have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.
It was awesome having a class again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll do these again. And you know, obviously this is the first one back, so I'm happy to sit and just rock out. So, but I'll get the recording will process as soon as I cut this off. So we'll get it out ASAP. All right, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
Y'all have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, see ya. Buddy, Asher, you're okay, dude. I'm right here. Ella, where are you going?